Everyone, Havoc is here, and you can start asking questions in the chat. Havoc, if you want to load up the stream as well, and you can help pick out if there's some questions you particularly like from the chat.
Sure.
And then I will pick out questions from the chat. So just to get things starting, how do you feel about Valspark? Like a lot of people have been asking me in my stream if I feel like it's OP, if it needs nerfing, stuff like that. How do you feel about Valspark currently?
There's a lot to it. So first of all, you need the jewels.
Mm-hmm.
Jewels is a big part. So solo, it's going to be really hard to get the jewels on your own. So you kind of want to get a group if you want to get the jewels really fast. Like in a new league, you probably get the 3 harvest and chill corruption maybe like 8-10 hours in. If everyone in your party is corrupting basically every single Iridian jewel and you're trying to snipe a chill, then I don't know, it's kind of like OP once you get the stuff, but like in a new league, you're not really gonna get the stuff early on, and then it kind of bounces out in that aspect. Like, yeah, once you get it, you're basically just gonna catch up to everyone like around level 80 mark. Other people like playing normal builds, they're gonna like be farming way faster than you.
Mm-hmm. But
that's like the early game, but then like mid game, like 80 to like 90 or something. I think from then on, Valspark is really strong because there are a lot of maps with really good layouts. You can easily get to like level 95, like way ahead of everyone.
Yeah.
I think once you get around like the 95, 96 mark, it like kind of slows down because at that point, now that GG has introduced 79 to 82 maps, people playing normal builds, I'll do those at like a decent pace. They'll probably get the same XP or more XP per hour than you.
I don't know though. I mean, I felt like I was getting lower XP being PA in 81 maps than you were getting.
Well, there's all mods right now. All mods changes it a lot.
That's true. But that is also the other thing. Like, I was surprised you were able to survive the all mods league with Valspark. I thought you would have less survival. So in like, say the 5-week now that isn't gonna have a lot of dangerous mods, don't you think that it's gonna be too easy for you to survive with that build?
Maybe. It's hard to say. Like, I don't know. I didn't really do any mapping without all mods. I think we did like 182 map with you. It was pretty sketchy when we did it. It was like no damage mods, and I almost died like twice, and the other Valsparker almost died.
Yeah.
Like, I only have 7,000 ES. Like, you have to get a lot of damage nodes. Like, I'm low life too, so my damage is pretty crazy, like for hardcore at least.
And how hard do you think it would be to get all the jewels, like on day 1? Do you think it would take you at least 2 days to get the jewels you need to actually do it, or?
I think if you had like at least 3 other people in your party, and you saw like a group of 4, you could probably get it by the time you're at Merciless.
Alright, that's not too bad.
So you could probably get it on time, and you'd probably be
like definitely
an hour or
not
two
without
behind,
a team.
like the top tier group. But then you'd catch up, and then you'd probably like smoke everyone to 95. And then once you get to 95, you're gonna slow down. So if I was to do it again, I'd probably just like respec or something at 95.
Yeah, like PA then, or?
Yeah.
So, there's 2 questions in chat here. Why do you like to PK, and what is your favorite PK?
Why do I like to PK?
Oh, don't lie.
I don't know, man. I don't try to PK anyone. It's just like, people just die in my party for some reason. I don't know why. They just die. But favorite PK? A favorite PK would be the one that actually didn't happen. It was almost PK. It was in the flashback a year ago, I think, or no, maybe like 6-8 months ago. And you know the Ice Snow Von Hit guy?
I remember.
Invasion boss?
Yeah.
Yeah. All 3 of my party members are stocked on top of it, and I was playing a Mjolnir there, and I realized it at the last second, and I stopped attacking, and I saved like all 3 of their lives. But in hindsight, I really wished I just got a triple kill on them, because it would have been like the best like Reddit bot ever, YouTube bot.
So you do like PKing?
Just that one time.
Okay. So what was your PK counter now? Like, the league's pretty close to ending. What's it at now?
I think it's 16.
16. So are you aiming for
Just
like...
kind of high, considering I've been playing a solo a lot and didn't even play for like 2 weeks this league. So
yeah, that's true. Like, it definitely would have been like 20,
a lot of them
25
are at the
plus.
end, though. Like, random people mess me, hey, do you want a group? I'm like, sure. 2 hours later, they're dead.
But see, I did play with you quite a lot, and I actually survived.
Yeah.
I never died with you. But I do have some insight as to why people are dying with you. I think it's mostly the ping. Most of the people you PK'd were
Yeah,
not
might
playing
be
on the
ping.
American realm. Like Weasel, stuff like that. I think I was probably one of the luckiest Europeans, because Belfast is
Yeah.
like the closest to your realm. So I actually got 90 ping playing with you. That's
Oh, wow.
completely
Yeah, that's pretty
playable.
good.
Whereas I know a lot of other people got 120 to
Yeah.
200.
I think another factor is just like, I don't know, there's a lot of lag sometimes. Even I get lag spikes on my own server, and I think that makes a really big difference if you
Yeah.
don't see like random beyond boss spawn or invasion boss. They have no FPS and they're like, oh, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I think that
Also,
happens a
a
lot,
lot of
especially with the
people.
Ice Nova on hit guy.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think the
That's.
last two PKs were Ice Nova on hit,
Oh wow.
actually.
Yeah, I saw the Caboose kill. That was crazy as well.
I didn't even think Caboose was gonna win. I thought he was
I
trolling. He's
know.
like, hey, invite me. I'm like, sure.
My
And he
favorite
just goes in and
part
dies.
about that was when you wrote "if you're good" after he died.
Yeah.
So
Easy PK.
another question is from Last Shadow XXL. Do you have any important things to note when trying to level real fast to Act 4 Merciless?
Just pick the most OP skill, which right now is Incinerate.
So you'd pick Incinerate over Flame Totem.
Yep, because you can literally spec 0 damage nodes on the tree. And, like, for example, when I level Ball Spark, I have crit nodes. And I
Yeah.
can use Incinerate, and I can still level up and pretty much do all the progression for a party.
Why did you let Caboose go into that room? Yeah, as you said, you didn't really expect Caboose to go into the room.
I didn't think he was gonna win, yeah.
Yeah. Neo9112 asks, what's your favorite orange juice?
I don't drink
You
oranges.
don't drink orange juice,
I
really?
eat oranges.
Ah. Let's see. How many sacrificial harvests and chills do you think you need to sustain Valspar? By Paranoid Marvin.
Well, ideally, you want 3 Harvest and a chill, but I think at the start
minimum.
of this league, I was using 2 Harvest for a really long time. And eventually, when I got a chill, I just like, it just went way faster.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the minimum would either be like 2 Harvest or a chill.
Okay, so that's the minimum. And you think you can get that the first day, right, with the team?
Yeah, easily. Because think about it, like, even if no one sells you anything, you guys are still going to find Vol Orbs and you're still going to find Viridian Jewels. Eventually, you're going to get it. I think Chill of Corruption's 1 out of 100, so 1% chance, not that bad.
Easier than a headhunter for sure.
Yeah, definitely easier than that.
So how upset are you that you didn't get a headhunter this league? And would that have made you play constantly instead of just taking a break?
I think even with a headhunter, I would have played like pretty casually. I was looking at my past broadcasts the other day. It was only like 4 or 5 hours every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't
know. White Hubbard asks, how many hours have you invested into Path of Exile, like a rough estimate, since you first started playing it?
I don't even want to know the answer to that question. I wonder if it's 5 digits. I don't know. It might be the 10,000 hour mark. I don't know.
10,000? Jesus.
I don't know. At least like 5,000 probably.
And like, in all that time, what has been your favorite league?
I think I had the most fun playing in Invasion. Just because Zeri farming is really fun. Selling the helmets for 20x each, pretty fun. Crafting the dagger, farming Uber at Zeri. Because that was just like straight up new content and just new things to do. I enjoyed that league a lot.
So, Zero Hedged asks, endgame mapping seems plagued by certain skills that require little investment to scale their damage. Do you think that GGG is aware of this and choosing to ignore it, or why are they choosing to ignore it?
So what are the endgame skills right now? Cyclone, SRS,
Split Arrow.
I haven't really seen any
Incinerate.
Split Arrow builds.
What? Hans? Hans is Split Arrow?
Okay, only him. Other than him,
there's like
anyone else
3 level
played it?
100s, I think, that are Split Arrow, or 2.
I'm surprised. Well, Incinerate. Incinerate, you can basically like close your eyes, click some nodes, and it works. So it doesn't really need that much investment. Poison Arrow, I don't know. You actually need a lot of jewels and stuff to make Poison Arrow good for endgame. The potential, Rallying Cry.
I don't feel Incinerate's very good for racing though. It's too slow. At least the block build.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Ita proved that point.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons he quit. It was like, nah,
Yeah.
fuck this, too long, burn out.
So the question was, why are there like the same 5 skills in game
Yeah.
mapping? Well, you have to have a lot of HP and you have to do a lot of damage, and these are just the skills that made it past that filter, I guess.
So if you could play like say like a skill that isn't part of the meta, what skill do you basically wish was part of the meta? Like if like say like lightning tendrils or something. Or I don't know, anything. Just any skill. What do you wish you could play to end game?
Personally, like I prefer builds where you can like move a lot, or there's lots of movement involved, and that just happens to be like poisoner or like SRS or totems or
Yeah.
whatever. So any skull right now that's weak, which allows you to move. So I guess I haven't seen a really good Firestorm build. I would be interested in that, maybe with Spring Ice or something. But
Yeah.
I have a feeling if I tried them, they're just going to be like a weaker poisoner. I wouldn't be able to play as like fast as I would want to.
So
Maybe
Doctor.
traps. I don't know. I haven't seen a good trap build either.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the meta
I know
for.
some people do it for leveling, but I haven't seen
Yeah.
any like end game trap builds.
Carr was actually talking about he wanted to do Chop Storm. So Doctor 435 is asking, what build are you going in the next 5-week league?
Honestly, I have no idea. Because like it's the same meta as basically this league, minus the need to play the OP build because there's no all mods. So I guess there is a chance to try out new stuff. I really have no idea what I want to play.
Hmm. How do you feel about the fact that they're not releasing like a balance patch before the next league? Like, does that annoy you that it's still the same meta?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I am like maybe I'm kind of debating not even like playing it just because it's the same balance patch. I thought they would do one, but then think I remember reading a post by Chris that poison changes would not be in.
Yeah.
And that was initially why I was excited for it.
I was really excited as well because I wanted to try Poison Reeve.
Yeah, just like Poison Reef, like Poison Incinerate, like Flame Blast Milo's offhand, you know? Crit Flame Blast.
Yeah.
Flame back the pizza.
Allure one is asking, Havoc, what do you think is the most underrated ability currently?
Under ability, like skill. Fall Lighting Shot, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see a
Kind
lot
of
of
hard.
people using that except PA.
I don't see a lot of people using. Oh, I don't know. Actually, haven't watched too many other streams, but Rallying Cry is like really good. I think it's like with 50 mobs, like 100% damage or something. It's like really good.
Hmm. How many PKs are you aiming for in this new 5-week? The set is asking.
At least 100.
At least 100 in 5 weeks. Good luck. Not playing with you.
Easy.
Not playing with you.
Just kidding, man.
Uh-huh.
Just join my party.
Uh-huh. So, Schnur is asking, do you have any predictions on the meta for the next league? So the 3-week, once they're changing the melee splash, everything like that?
The new challenge league. I think we'll definitely see something with poison and incinerating and swimming dark. A lot of just chaos stuff, because everyone's gonna be wanting to test it out. It's new.
Hmm.
As for the melee builds with melee splash, I don't know. I don't really know if like buffing melee splash will really make the melee builds viable. Because like Cyclone's just so good mechanically. You have stun immunity and you're always moving. Moving is survivability, it's like clear speed, it's like everything. Maybe you'll see some Reeve or something, I don't know. A Reeve is a build I do want to see, like in hardcore, high level. I haven't seen anyone successfully pull it off endgame. That's also really good mechanics. It's really good mechanics.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely excited for the next 3 months.
Oh, on that note, actually, since they made map drops easier, you don't really need to chaos your maps now. You can kind of get away with alt regaling, so I think that on its own will open up a lot of builds. Because a lot of the new map mods, they really just hurt builds, you know, limit what you can do. Especially like when you get like EE 60, 80 lightning resist and like enfeeble on your map, you're just like, oh god, why am I playing this lightning build? You're not gonna get that anymore. You can just like reroll the map.
So, Paranoid Marsvin is asking, what's the build you have the most fun playing?
Low life spectral throw and invasion was really fun. Burning Mist Creations was really fun too. Just like anything that clears at the speed of move speed. We're just like, it's just really fun, yeah. Especially when you're doing like hard maps. Nemesis was a fun league. I think we were doing like double damage maps all the time as well. Like if you messed up, you could like die in a second, which is pretty great.
So, see, there is a question in chat. It's asking, are you using autopot? Which a lot of high-end players get asked a lot. So, how do you feel about potion management? Like, obviously, it's really important for endgame. Like, how do you have your potion layout and stuff like that?
Oh, okay. Well, you asked what was the most underrated ability earlier. I think it's not like an in-game ability. It's knowing, since like a lot of people they've played the game so long, they see like a leaper leaping at them. Before, when there was desync in the game, we'd basically just like it become a habit, just press your potions before the mob even hits you to counter the lag.
Yeah.
So now like that's just how you manage your potions now. You see something about it, you just spam your potions before it even comes.
Yeah.
And always try to have flasks up. I really like flask builds. You get like lots of flask nodes, reduced flask charges used, get a good flask belt, and I think that's really underrated. Flask belts right now.
Yeah,
like really
for
cheap.
sure.
You
Like
can easily get one
recharge.
with double fast mods.
See, that was my favorite thing about playing PA is I had all the potion nodes, and my potions were just all the time. So I would literally go like 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 every 5 seconds. And
Yeah, I always found that odd. It's like, hey, are you using autopot? It's like pressing 2, 3, 4, 5 isn't that hard.
Yeah, no, I get that stat a lot as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. Let's see. Where do you live?
I live in Waterloo, Canada.
From Wider Harbour. Right, okay. Yeah, and here someone else asked, tell us your potion management secrets, which we've gone through. Let's see, I'm just scrolling through the questions.
On the note of potions, I do like to just have everything covered. Like to have like bleed covered on the character. Yeah, it's obvious, like staunching, like freeze, shock, curses. You just generally want to have everything covered.
Yeah, so actually, let's go, like, I always have bleed on a Quicksilver.
Yeah.
What do you
I
do?
tried that for a bit. I don't know. I didn't really like it. I really like having the adrenaline, but I don't know. I do like rolling blades builds though, where you can just drop the Quicksilver for another defensive potion.
Yeah, like I do like having bleed on a health potion too, but I find that especially, for example, say you're PA and you kill a full bloodline pack.
Oh, that was really bad. One thing I noticed about that is that with combs, I felt like I was taking a lot more damage from the bloodlines compared to lightning coil.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm wondering if coil actually reduces that damage.
It does. It's direct physical mitigation.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why I have bleeding in a Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Although it doesn't always save me from dogs.
Rip.
Let's see. Neo9112 says, Havoc, I love the music on your stream. Is there any story as behind, like, why are you always playing classical music?
I don't know, it's really relaxing, I guess. I think that's basically it. Yeah.
It's like the opposite of me. I always play like high pumpy music to keep me awake and focused.
I used to, I guess, listen to stuff like that, but I don't know. I kind of like to focus on the game, so just having something quieter in the background's nice.
Okay, Last Shadow is asking it for Valspark. What gem should I drop when using a 5-linked shavs for Valspark? Do I like speed farming with the Magic Find version?
If you're a Scion, you'll probably have both duration nodes, so you can drop increased duration.
Dexter Killer Morgan is saying, wow, what can you do in this game for 5,000 hours?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
100 multiple times.
So let's see. Right. So Testo is asking, Havoc, I saw you doing some shorter races at the end of the last race season. Do you enjoy shorter races, or is it just something you do when you're bored and waiting for a new league to start?
Extremely bored, so I just started messing around with them. I did enjoy like the Malachite, like the Not like the super short like Mervale ones or like Volca ones, but I did enjoy the Malachi kills. I think those were really fun. Just boss fighting in general is something I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Zero-esque encounters, stuff like that.
And you like breaking the game, right?
Pretty much.
Paranoid Marsvin is asking, why aren't you running a cam on your stream recently?
There's a subcam. You can sub it, you can see it.
Oh, really? Didn't know that. Bazoo is asking, do you expect a nerf to Chill of Corruption or Valspark for the next meta?
If I was to guess a nerf, I think they would nerf Sacrificial Harvest to make it limited to one.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, Volspark is already limited by like OP map layouts, and all like the good layouts are basically like low mid-tier maps. Like maybe plateaus and volcanoes, and I guess springs being the highest. It's kind of hard to do it endgame in like the 79 plus tier, which is basically where you're gonna either want to respec or play a different build.
Acronis is asking, what is better for an Iron Reflexes build, Grace or Determination?
It depends on your tree and gear. It's kind of hard to just answer that, but I guess I could just say Grace. Although in this meta, I don't think Iron Reflexes is good. I think it's better just go like Endurance Charges and Coil or something,
Yeah.
get the Fizz mitigation that way, and then get like 50% Avoidance on top with Grace.
So Project PT is asking, Havoc, would you prefer having the weaker builds, like the builds that aren't part of the current meta, brought up to be on level with the current meta builds, or would you prefer having the meta builds toned down and nerfed?
I'd probably say bring the weaker builds up, because if you just nerf the others, oh, I don't know. I guess if you nerf like the top 5, you would play the weaker builds anyways. Then like I don't know, we're still gonna play the best builds. It's hard to say. Like it just depends on whatever's the best after.
Yeah, because right now GGG is basically cycling the meta. So it's basically
Yeah.
like 3 to 6 builds that are amazing, then a new
Yeah,
3 to 6
on that
builds.
note, it's
How
like
do you feel
really
about
great.
that?
It's really great like when the builds are really fun to play like, in the meta and you want to play them, but then when you don't want to play them, you don't really feel like playing PoE, and it's like really frustrating. And I know myself and a lot of other people,
Mhm.
like we think about the new league and it's like, okay, what builds are there? Oh, it's the same ones as before. Do
Yeah.
I really want to play right now? That's actually what I'm feeling right now with this new 5 week. I really want to play the same builds. Like I enjoy playing Poisoner. Like I'm not gonna
Yeah,
say I don't, but I kind of want to change it up.
yeah, I kind of feel the same, and I actually like the current model of 5, 6 builds being the meta at the time, because then I can sort of cycle it. I think if all builds were sort of balanced, like say right now we could play all builds, I think I would run out a lot quicker than currently.
I don't know. I felt like in 1.3, if you just nerfed Prolif and buffed a couple of skills, I felt like you could play literally anything. Because
Really.
it's a blue map league, or alt
Mhm.
regling, so like maps weren't really limiting the builds. Um, like occasionally, like on a Mjolnir build or something, we could like chaos maps, which is nice for easier map sustain, but you really did not need to. You could just be just fine alt regling and just dominating your maps. And you'd see a lot of different builds in every party. Like you'd see some pretty cool stuff, but now you don't really see that anymore. At least from what I've noticed from the people I've partied with, it's generally the same stuff over and over again.
Mhm. So Black777 is asking, without a budget, what would be the best damage or survival build with the current meta?
If you're playing solo or something, or
It didn't specify, so I'm guessing
okay.
solo, yeah.
Like if I was 100% solo without anyone to back me up, I'd probably just play Poison Arrow or Incinerate. Like
Mhm.
Incinerate is probably the stronger one early on, but Poison Arrow would be the stronger one late game.
Yeah.
I don't really enjoy Incinerate personally because I don't like standing still and attacking. It's annoying. Or I find it annoying, I should say.
Yeah, I felt like that with
I have to move
SRS.
around.
So, speaking of arrow builds, how do you feel about explosive arrow? Saucemaster is asking.
I think it's really good AoE. It just has one bad synergy with the fact that a lot of people are doing like temp chains and stuff and chilled ground. So your fuses take a really long time to explode. So usually what you want to do with explosive arrow is party with someone, especially someone with a single target, because that's the second problem as well. It doesn't have that great of a single target. The mob kind of needs to be near a wall, and even then it's kind of clunky. So it's good AoE, but yeah, I think you have to play with someone else that has good single to make it top tier.
So Michael Phillip is asking, do you like miss Burn Prolif being in the game probably and Firestorm stuff? Not Firestorm, Flame Blast.
Well, I think it's a good thing that it has been nerfed and like new builds are being opened. You know, I guess we can't really blame GG for not getting it perfect on the first go because no one really knew what was going to be the OP builds after Flame Blast got nerfed. So hopefully next league it'll be a lot better.
Right. Let's see.
But do I miss it? I don't know. Who does not miss clearing fast?
That's true. That's very true. Disaster Max is asking, do you still have any hope for Cold Snap?
Never even tried Cold Snaps. I don't know.
Dream build.
I've heard it's really good with cast on crit, like AoE wise. But I'm not too sure about single. Maybe I have that backwards though. I'm not too sure. I think there's like a bug or something where like it bypasses the cooldown or so I've heard. So I think it's strong in the cast on crit category. For self-cast though,
yeah,
I haven't seen anything too crazy. The problem with like just self-cast spells in general right now is I guess the resist maps, which is really annoying, and they happen a lot. You have like more monster life and endurance charges and people. There's so many things that just lower your damage.
That's less of a problem now with the alt regal meta though.
Yeah, it is. Although there is like personally, I know I could maybe get away with alt regaling. I'd still kind of want to play a build like chaos maps because I'd rather just get up there fast and have lots of low maps to like run and play. I feel like there's more RNG and like
I feel the same way.
There's a higher chance of getting screwed if you alt regal.
I feel the same way, but I think if you alt regal and Zana mod instead of chaos spamming, like if you do domination instead, I think you can get away with it.
I think if you did ambush, you're like guaranteed to build the base. So maybe you have to do a mix
of like
alt regaling with ambush and domination.
Ambush is so expensive. Like there's some maps where I've used 10 chaos and alterations, so that's 22 chaos.
You really have to have a party to ambush.
For sure.
But it's guaranteed basically map drops though.
Yep. Especially as long as you roll lots of pack size. Like I was explaining earlier to a few people that like quantity does not really matter. It's so random if it helps or not.
Yeah, I think at the end of Tempest, like I never even ran an 80 map. Like I think at the very end of my last like 20% on my SRS guy, I ran some 80 maps. But before that, literally chaining 81s to 82s all the time. Like then I look at my stash tab, I have like a stash tab of 78s and like another stash tab of 79s. It's like really nice. Didn't even run them.
Yeah.
It's like why would I want to run those low XP maps, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you feel about like the current XP nerf? Like they nerfed 81s and 82s. Or was it 80s as well?
They nerfed everything, I think 77 plus. 77 was very minor. Right. I think that went down to like 76.9.
But like the massive cap starts at 80, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it's good. Because now, again, you know, box rolling, you don't really need to do it. You probably do a bit at the start just to like build that base, get those guaranteed maps. Then once you have like a bunch of maps, I think you can get away with just dominating. And then the swing of running a 78 to 82 just here and there, I think that's fine. You can get pretty good XP per hour, just like swinging up and down between the 78 to 82 maps.
And do you feel like this league was a good test for GGD with the new changes? Like, because obviously people were complaining of people were getting level 100 too fast this league. Like the Steel Poison got it pretty fast. But obviously you got a lot more XP because of all the Beyond, the Shrines, stuff like that. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I think for map drops, yeah, it was a good test. Like none of the all mods really affected, does it? I guess like boxes a bit and domination, yeah, but it shouldn't be too big of a factor.
What about XP?
Yeah, Beyond definitely gave a lot more XP, and yeah, I think it was a fine test on GG's part.
And do you think it was better map drops in this league than the last? Like, do you think you got better maps in Tempest?
Those easier to sustain maps in Tempest. I have to roll double pack size mod,
Hmm.
or I would not put the map in pretty much.
Wow.
Maybe I'd consider like Magic Mob single pack, but even then I was like, do I really want to keep this map? This league, like, it was partly because it was just really hard to gain the currency to just roll double pack size in every map. I couldn't afford, spending 20, 30 chaos per map on top of dominating, so I just went with single pack size and it worked out. So I was like, hey, this works, this is nice, I like these map drops.
Someone's asking me how to avoid getting PK'd. I'd say don't play with Havoc or Weasel.
Oh.
No, actually, I would
I think
say.
it's just being really situationally aware, like someone like me, like I've just played
Mhm.
this game so much, so I generally know all the situations or something. Rarely get surprised now.
Yeah, and
So
I
it's
would
just like
say,
playing and just encountering and like weird situations and learning from your mistakes and others' mistakes.
yeah, I would say learning from others' mistakes well. But if you're new, I would say, and if you're new and trying to like survive, if you're banking on getting a 100 character eventually in a league, then avoid playing with people who push you out of your comfort zone.
Well, that can be a good and bad thing. They can teach you how to be more
Oh
efficient.
yeah, no, for sure. If you want to just
Of
learn,
course, the
but if you're
chance of
aiming for
risk goes
surviving.
higher, but
Hmm.
yeah, if you want to learn how to play efficiently, I think it's good. Play with people that play fast.
Hmm. Fenurus is asking, what do you think of Rain of Arrows for the 5 week? Like, do you think that is a skill that can actually do it in a race, or?
I hate Rain of Arrows. I don't like it at all. I just don't think it's a good skill in general. To expand on that, I don't know. It's like really bad AOE, I guess, and like no one really. I guess people do use single target only skills, but I think there's better options like puncture traps and stuff,
Yeah.
like tornado shot or something. I just don't like it. I don't even know how the what's that bow? No, King of the Hill. I think the knockback. I don't even know how that works with Rain of Arrows. It probably really weird,
Oh, yeah.
but it does knock
I haven't
back.
tried that either.
Whenever someone suggests me Rain of Arrows build, I get triggered.
Pactec is asking, currency-wise, does most of the currency come from dried lake farming or come from drops and leveling gems?
Leveling gems is always a decent amount of currency every league. Before in past leagues, like in 1.3, you could sell like level 20 gems for like 1 to like 1.5x. Like 20 quality ones, like 1.5 to 2.5, depending on which gem it is. Now it's like down to like I think 20 to like 40 chaos or something, depending on the gem.
Hmm.
But still, you can usually level like 6, 10 or something. It's like easy money to sustain you.
Yeah.
Um, as for a new league, like it basically like day one or something, first couple days you basically ID pick up everything, or at least that's what I do.
Yeah.
And I just put it in my shop, I have acquisition set up. It's like, okay, this item's probably worth like 2 chaos or like 3 chaos, just throw it in the tab. And then like maybe like 4 or 5 days in, once I have like enough like items in my shop, basically what I do is I pick up a lot of items and I just stash a lot of items in my shop. Once I have like a lot of items in there that I know will eventually sell, like kind of just stop picking up items, and the bulk of currency starts coming in from just unique drops and like maybe top tier bases and like eye level gear and I guess maps and gems.
And on that note, obviously, I don't know if I mentioned to you, but I had a friend of mine trading for me this league, and obviously Steele had a lot of help from his guild in trading and stuff. How important do you think for like top 3 it is to have someone else doing the trading for you, especially when you're like pushing maps?
I think it helps a ton if like that means you make an extra like 200 chaos a day. That's 20 maps you could have dominated. It's huge.
Hmm. Do you think it's
It's
required?
enormous.
Like, do you think completely solo without anyone helping you,
It
not so much
depends on
map,
how long
but
other
like
people are
trade and
playing,
stuff?
I think, and like how often like the other person's guy is trading, I guess. How much
Hmm.
currencies you bring in, how often are they dominating? Domination has a really large impact on your XP per hour. So
Yeah.
it's kind of depends on how often each group is doing it. If one guy's team is doing it on every single map, the other one's isn't. One that's not doing it's gonna fall really far behind.
Yeah.
Start doing something like I don't know, chaining 82s or something. I don't know.
So, White Hubbard is asking, what's the most crazy build you've ever tried that didn't work out as planned, like completely tanked?
I think in the Bloodlines flashback, I played a crit arc build with a support who's like tri cursing or quad cursing with like OP auras and stuff, and it just sucked. I couldn't even clear like a 71 map. Um, I was like really surprised at how weak it was. I knew it would have been strong later on, but I think that build was, I don't know, it just sucked. Was it really bad early on? I think I ended up respecing like 5 times that league. I think I checked to Wander after, which was like, it was okay,
Yeah.
decent, and then ended up playing a bow build, which was really fun in the end.
Yeah, is there any build you've like hated? Like you played it and you're like, I'm never touching this again?
I'm trying to remember what builds I played. I played a lot of builds. Cast Arc? Probably not, even though I guess I'm technically playing that right now, sort of, like hybrid with Volspark.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because I usually just play like really strong skills, so it's hard to say. I'd have to think about this one.
Yeah. So, do you have any favorite sodas?
Don't drink any pop. Just drink water, milk,
Yeah,
protein shakes.
I find that crazy. How do you stay up so long? I don't get it.
I don't know. I eat healthy. I eat my vegetables. I don't know.
That's insane. That's the opposite of me. I eat zero vegetables and I drink like 5 to 10 Red Bulls
Dude,
a
I
day.
love broccoli, man. Broccoli is like the best.
I like broccoli if it's covered in gravy.
I just like steam it and put some salt and pepper and good to go.
Embu, you played with Embu this league a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah. I think a day or two.
Embu's asking, if
Then
I
the next
play
league
a
died
nice
and
build with
DC'd.
quad curse, can I join the meme team?
Um, one of our supports dies, I guess, sure.
Yeah, how devastating was Tyrell's death to you this league?
I think it wasn't that devastating for me. I don't know. It sucked, right? Because like I think he really wanted to get 100.
Hmm.
So I think he probably took it worse than me. But after I talked to him, he said he was fine. He was like watching us do maps later, and I said, "It's like, yeah, I did not want to do that later on."
Yeah. But like, do you have any supports right now? Is it just nice shot pretty much, or?
Yeah, just nice shot. I can probably just catch up to him. We can hit 100 at the same time.
Cool. Juki's asking, do you think there's any other Val skills that can achieve similar effects to Valspark, like Val Power Siphon or Val Ground Slam? Or do you think Valspark is like just outclassing all the other Val gems?
Maybe like Ball RF and Righteous Fire and Hardcore or something.
What about Val Molten Shell?
That's more of like a single target type of thing. So
You
it
can
wouldn't
actually
really...
get it pretty big AoE.
Yeah, but it's just not going to be as close to as fast as Volspark.
I don't know, I just think it's a lot more gear intensive. If you get that self-reflect helmet, I think it could be pretty cool.
I'd like to see you do it then.
I really want to, I just need to. I would
Like
need
Volspark, like you're clearing like 2-3 screens around your character at a
That's
time.
true,
That's
that's
like
true.
the giant AoE. No Sunball Molten Cell, you're just going to cover your screen.
Yeah, I think Molten Strike would be more of a screen clearer.
Yeah.
I think it could be cool though, especially if Valspark gets nerfed. I think that could be like the next thing.
It's probably...
Paranoid Marvin is asking, what do you think is the most innovative build out there right now?
Hmm. Not too sure actually. Like, I'm trying to think past the OPs right now.
Hmm.
What else?
Like, is there any
I kind of
like
want to say
weird build that
Volspark is
you've
kind of
seen?
innovative. Like,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
one's really playing it until I think like
It's
Slur and then one of my
something
friends in Hardcore was
else.
playing it.
Like,
That one came out of nowhere.
is there any like really creative build that might not be like amazing meta wise, but you really like oh, this looks cool.
Um, oh, what were both the weeks recently? Maybe one of them. Is it?
Hmm.
I can't think of any builds off the top of my head though, so I guess the answer is no. But there might be one out there. Just need to see it.
So you've played with a lot of different support this 1 month. Who's been your favorite support and what build did they play?
I'd say any support that runs Coleraine is usually going to be tier 1, just because it allows you to keep up with the party in curse ranged.
So do you feel like Whispering Ice isn't good enough?
I don't like Whispering Ice at all.
Me neither.
I don't... Yeah, it's just not good. It's like good for bosses, but there's only one boss in the map. There's like 1,000 other mobs in the map, and you want to call rain guy for that. Ice shot just way faster.
Yeah.
Like if you have a whispering ice guy in the party, usually the mobs are gonna die, and then his like whispering ice stuff is gonna fall down.
Do you think the defensive meta is too restricting at the moment? Like, that you're basically, I mean, obviously they have been improving it. They've been like making us slightly rely less on health nodes. But do you think it's still like too restrictive, like that it's so much fizz damage, for example?
Maybe in 79 plus maps.
Mm-hmm.
Just last night actually, I was doing some 79 village ruins, just like really easy, no damage mods, and I felt like I was just taking insane damage solo. Yet I go do a springs and or springs at the top tier now. Like is springs a red map? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I was taking like pretty much no damage in springs, but taking like insane amount of damage in village ruins, just one map level higher. So I'd say 78 and lower. You think you can get away with like weaker defensive combinations, but in the 79 plus tier, you have to
Yeah.
stay with the proven and true stuff.
And on that note about map tiers, do you feel like they're like pretty balanced? Like, for example, when you progress from an 8 to a 9, a 9 to a 10, do you feel like it's like a pretty good increase in like difficulty? Especially, I guess the yellow to, so like 12 to 13, or 11 to 12, I mean. Do you think that's a good scaling?
Yeah, I think it's fine. You'll definitely notice a difference between like just 9, 10, 11, 12, you know? It,
Hmm.
No, 9, 10 are mid tiers. I meant, well, basically 79 plus tier. Sorry, I don't really remember the new like tier system yet. The numbers, I
Yeah.
still have like maps in my head,
10s
like
is
map levels.
77.
Yeah. I think 12 is 79s or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, so okay, so tier 12s and up.
Yeah.
You're definitely gonna notice the difference between tier 12, 13, 14, and 15. Like after farming like 14s and 15s, like 81s, 82s, you go down to an 80 map, and then you're like, whoa, this is like really easy.
Hmm.
So you definitely need to have your characters either geared out really well or just have really good group synergy or good group compositions, etc.
And on that note of maps, do you think tier 15s are worth it? Because I feel personally that like the damage from a 14 to a 15 is massive. So you do have to slow down your clear speed quite a lot.
You don't really notice that with the support though, which
Yeah,
basically is, I want to say it's almost mandatory right now
but more
with the
solo.
support in high maps. Okay, for solo.
Like for example, I did a
It's hard to
few.
say because my memory is kind of clouded by all the Beyond stuff.
Yeah,
And for me, when I was pushing on Poison Arrow, I found the best equilibrium for me was running 78 to like 79 maps with
yeah.
occasional 80 ones. Because the Beyond mods are just so tanky and they had a lot of chaos resist. So I guess I'm a little biased right now on that.
Yeah, yeah. Like that here, speaking of Beyond, how do you feel future leagues are gonna play? Because obviously you played a lot this 1 month and you've gotten quite used to it. Do you feel other leagues are gonna feel like way too easy
I think
now?
it's gonna feel so easy next league. It's like, how do you even die?
Mhm.
How do you die next league? I
I've
don't
been
know.
thinking that too. Well, Village Rim boss.
Okay, there you go. I guess you die to bosses now.
Shonaimi is asking, is there any like bosses we should skip? Like what would you what bosses
Coliseum
don't
boss,
you do?
don't do it. It's a waste of time. It's not efficient. I think one thing to think about, yeah, bosses can drop maps, right? But if you can run like a lower level map in the same amount of time, get more XP and more loot and a chance for more maps, it's gonna be way better. Coliseum is one of them because I don't think you can insta burst it.
Hmm.
Other boss I would skip. There's one more, just I can't remember right now. It's in the top tier maps.
Palace?
I don't know. Palace Dominance is really easy.
Depends what build. It's not that fun for Cyclone in stage 1.
Okay, that's true. I've only been playing ranged
Hmm.
builds.
And is there any bosses you don't like doing but you do anyway? Like there's a high level boss that you hate maybe?
I don't like fighting Piety. I always feel like she's really risky. Like there's always a
Really?
chance. Like okay, she's like easy, right? But then some like one day she was like, oh, I'm gonna triple crit you with my lightning storm and you're dead. You know?
Huh.
Or like I shot one shot, or like your teammates stand on top of each other and y'all get shotgun and die or something.
I swear, Shrine's
It's
my
like it's
favorite map.
kind of an easy boss, but there's like scenarios where you can just like die in like a split second.
Hmm. So, Pioneer Marvin's asking, what advice would you give for trying hardcore for the first time?
Just pick one of the proven OP builds and just try to learn the mechanics of the game.
Mhm.
It's like, and then learn. It's kind of hard though, but like try to learn like how much damage mobs do and stuff, like X amount of mitigation, stuff like that.
Yeah.
How can you survive? Like learning different defensive mechanics.
Yeah, and something I would add to that is analyze your death when you die.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that's
the
what
most
you learn.
important thing is to learn from your mistakes. And when people post like ripwads in Reddit or just like you see people die in streams, you try to think what would you have done to avoid that, or what could have the person playing done to avoid that? Could they have like changed their tree,
Yeah.
changed their play? Maybe they need to cast Enduring Cry or something, like whatever.
Yeah, on that note, you
Use a
actually,
bleed pot.
both you and Ray saved me this league. You saved me with your Yawn Death to Hast. I didn't know it would carry on damaging you while running a straight line
Yeah,
away
I
from the
learned two
Glacial
things this
Cascade.
league. Like I didn't think I was gonna get destroyed by house there. Like
Yeah,
I knew the void
it was
was
so
there.
fast.
Just didn't know.
And the other thing I learned this league from someone else's mistake was, you know the Brian Rot warbands, right? The lay behind the sappy thing.
Say that again. Sorry.
You know the Brian Rot warband that lay, or I think it's Brian Rot, the ones that lay behind like the electrocutes thing, like that zappy
Oh
when.
yeah, those guys are really OP. Yeah.
Yeah, but that is actually affected by LMP and GMP.
Yeah. Thankfully, I never like was affected by that, but
Yeah,
you
because
told
you're
me
ranged.
so.
Yeah.
Even there's the shock nova. I remember doing a lot of damage. That was actually one of the reasons why I was basically running a lot of low maps too, because there was like no one running high map except for like maybe me, Steel, and like maybe a couple other people.
Yeah.
And they were like always 4 dot, and the 4 and like I don't know, man. I don't know what GG was thinking with these like warband guys, but they are so freaking tanky. Like if I'm not playing SRS, like I can't kill them basically. And like I don't know, man.
And how did you feel about, for example, the Spectral Thor Chaos warband being in a hardcore league? Because obviously that is completely designed for warbands.
I thankfully never encountered him. I never actually seen a video where he decimated someone.
Oh no, you did.
Well, actually, no, I
We
encountered him
it.
and I killed him, but I never got hit. So I guess I never found out.
No, like you and me encountered one in a map, and we instantly left the map.
Well, I just left because I think someone was streaming log out, and I was like, okay, I'll log out or
Yeah.
something.
Like it does one shot. It's insane. Yeah. Let's see. For Havoc, what are you thinking about the Mjolnir state with Kingsguard running EB and Minor Matter?
I didn't really think Mjolnir was that OP beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was like slightly past, like there's well balanced, and there's like the OP mark. It's like slightly past well balanced mark, I'd say maybe beforehand. Because like it was still melee and stuff,
Yeah.
and you still needed like quite a bit of gear to make it work. Like you needed.
It's
A lot
always
of
been an
stuff.
expensive build. I think
Yeah.
Mjolnir is one of the things that have been like nerfed buffed like the most.
Yeah, and then I kind of want to say it's overkill, but oh, some guy just died in game.
Alright.
Level 98, position top. Sorry, that was really random, but
No, it's okay. I can't see. I'm scrolled up on the chat.
yeah.
Do you think they should, Palix is asking, do you think they should create new endgame content instead of only map options? And do you have any other, like, do you have any ideas for what endgame should be besides maps?
I've always wondered if PoE is the type of game where you want like raid boss style content, like in WoW or something. I've never played WoW, so
Yeah.
I don't have too much experience with that, but I genuinely enjoy boss killing in general. And I think a lot of people would enjoy that as well. It's learning mechanics and like approaching it with different builds and stuff. Like Azuria is a really well designed fight, I think.
And you wish there was
So yeah,
more
I'd say
stuff like
some type of
Azuri?
boss killing or something. Yeah, more Azuria type action or just boss killing stuff. Maybe encourage like party play more or something. I don't know.
Like,
Right now they're like all solo encounters.
I know a lot of people have been saying something like they miss Uber Diablo, stuff like that.
How would that even work in this game? Sell your mirrors of plunder to the vendor?
Yeah, Exalted Orbs.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, I mean, Stoner Jordan wasn't that rare. I'd say it was around the same as Exalted Orb.
Weren't the majority of the Sages duped though? Pretty sure they were.
Depends what league you were playing. Like, they did crack down pretty
Even
hard
in
on
ladder,
DP.
I'm on the ladder leagues now. I was pretty sure. I don't know though.
I don't know. I sold quite a lot of swords. Let's see. So Paranoid is asking, he's got a lot of good questions, this guy. What do you think is the best way to make currency in a new league? And do you think that changes when it's halfway through the league?
If you ever just want to make currency, just pick up every single item. If it looks decent, life single resist, put it in your shop. And if you don't know what to price it for, just price it higher. If it's not selling, just, like let's say you just have a tab of like 3 chaos buyout, change the whole tab to 2 chaos or something. I do that a lot. And then just sell a lot of items. That's if you really want to make money.
And how do you feel about the Chaos recipe, or more importantly, the Regal recipe when you're pushing ladder?
I barely do the chaos recipe at the start. Regal recipe, barely do it.
And do you
Yeah,
feel
done
like
it
the
like
Regal
5
recipe
times.
is going to be more important now that, like, obviously the meta's
Well,
changed
Regal comes
slightly?
back, yeah, but just doing the Regal recipe, it's technically a waste of time because while you're doing the recipe, you could have been killing mobs. And like, if you get outmapped and basically do anything that pops up, you do save a lot of currency. And the Regal recipe, like doing that, is you're losing time doing that. I'd rather just not do it and have a build that can do all the map mods
Yeah.
and gain that time back. Because like builds, like the top tier builds, they clear really freaking fast. Like
Yeah.
Valspark, I can clear a whole map while you're doing the Regal recipe.
Like, I basically stole E-Tips. Like, when I was watching E-Tip, I saw he had like one tap for chest, stuff like that. So I stole
Yeah, I
his
did the
way of
exact
doing
same
that,
thing.
and it is pretty fast once you get used to it. I'm pretty sure I can
Yeah.
sell for a Regal in like 8 seconds, maybe 6 seconds. So it is pretty fast. But
Yeah, if you
I
have all
think
the
it will
stuff.
be worth it if the alt Regaling meta comes back.
Yeah.
And on that note,
If you have
that
a
is
group,
also a
then you could probably
really,
make it pretty efficient.
yeah. And on that note, in my opinion, it's a really good way to make alteration. Something Linkosaurus told me this league was, oh, you should put all your jewelry tab up on acquisition for 20 alts.
Yep.
And I
after a
sold
couple
like
leagues now, you
300
sell like the
alts.
crappiest items ever, and you're just like,
Yeah.
why is he buying that? But hey,
Yeah.
I'm getting currency, so
But for someone it might be like, oh, I'm 14 virus short or something like that, and
they
it's just
just
20
need
alts.
something with that just so they can play for a bit. And sometimes it's worth it
Yeah.
to buy like a crappy item or even to like overpay like for a good item. Like for example, like Cheddar Corruption next league. I'm sure there's gonna be so many people doing Ballspark. Me personally, I'd probably overpay for it because I know I'd make the currency back just by farming with it.
And ESX attack, I'm going to go hardcore when the next season starts. And on that, have you ever played a softcore league? Like, for example, Warband, something like that? Like, either just to get the achievements, or you wanted to change of pace, something like that? Or have you always played hardcore?
Well, when I first started playing the game, I actually made my character in hardcore. And I died at level 30, and I was going to like delete my character and restart in hardcore, because I think that's what like everyone was doing back then or something. Because like Crip was the only guy streaming back then, and he was like the example setter or trend setter, whatever. And then, but my friend's like, no, whatever. I'll just kill my character too, and like he killed his character level 30, and I just basically played softcore to 100, learned all my mechanics there, and then switched to hardcore ever since. I don't think I've played a softcore league after that. If I did, it was only for achievements, and usually when I play softcore now, I kind of dread it because I just feel like, oh man, when this is over, can I get these challenges done already? Stuff like that.
Yeah, so I take it you like that it was the challenges didn't matter which league you played on?
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Like, I hated that about Warbands personally.
For like new players, what to do. I'd highly recommend playing softcore first. Just learn all the mechanics, and when you die, just learn from your deaths. Just like take the time to learn from your deaths, and once you feel you're ready, switch to hardcore.
So Eupolia is asking, is it possible to be in like top 50 with pure solo playing?
Yes.
100% solo. I don't know if he means
100%.
self-found or not.
I think you can.
Yeah.
Like it's very easy for me to say that because I have the like I don't know
The
2,000, 3,000,
Yeah.
whatever. I have that knowledge in my head already of what to do, when to do it, how to be efficient, etc.
I think
For someone
self-found
that
would
doesn't
be
know
quite
that
hard.
stuff, it's gonna be harder.
Yeah, I think self-found would be quite hard if you don't have a lot of the knowledge. But definitely, as long as you still trade, solo, top
Yep.
50 isn't... Top 50, in my opinion, is more about the time and effort you put in, because a lot of people don't have enough time to get top 50, and it starts... Like, the competitive differences is very different between even just top 3, top 10, top 20, and then top 50.
Yep. Then also, a lot of people, they don't play efficient. Like, they'll do a map and they'll just stare at their inventory for like a couple minutes and they'll sort their stash. It's like, oh, this alteration doesn't look pretty in this corner. I'm gonna move into this corner. And like, they just waste a lot of time in between maps.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, like we'll notice a lot of people do now. They have like the ugliest inventories and stashes ever, but they're just like instantly going in and out of
Mhm.
maps, and like that's how they're so rich. That's how they get lots of XP, and that's how they don't even play a lot,
Yeah, and
and they're very
on
efficient.
that note, how important do you think map discipline is for pushing the ladder? Like that's something I learned a lot more this league. Like actually learned a lot of that from watching your stream, where you would just have like you have 10 maps lined up in your inventory. You go in, you vendor like the 6 sockets. You don't even vendor the jewels. You just bam vendor all the big shit. Go back in.
Yeah, I think it's very important if you want to push XP. Like you gotta like the time adds up. It's like okay, so you put the map in first, so it usually takes like what 5-10 seconds for the map to open up. So while the map's opening up, you want to try to do all your inventory management in that time,
Hmm.
just to like save time.
Yeah, that's also
So you
something.
basically look for like every like spot possible where you can save time. And Regal recipe being one of them, you say you can do it in 8 seconds. Well, I'd rather go on my next map.
Yeah. So Clownchowder was
Very minor,
asking,
but
would you
that's
try
it.
Eye Shot in the next 5 week, and how was Floating Nipples Eye Shot build? But yeah, on that note,
He's
how do you
playing a
feel
support
about
though.
support?
I think I want to say it's mandatory if you really want to push high-end content, especially because you're
Oh
not
no
gonna
no,
have
I
OP
meant for
girly.
you personally playing it.
Oh, me playing support?
Hmm.
Oh, I wouldn't mind playing support if I knew my party members wouldn't die. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's also like it is annoying, like when you log in and there's like no one online to play with as a support. It's like, okay, what do I do now? I guess I just sit here and wait.
Yeah.
I think I played support one league and that was an issue, and then I think all my flame blasters died in that league. Then I had to end up respec flame blast myself since everyone was dead. It's a 1 week race, I believe.
Yeah. No, I'm.
So I probably wouldn't do it again. Maybe if I was playing really casually, I didn't really care too much. I would consider playing support. It's a really fun. I think it's a very fun playstyle.
So Eupolia is asking, I need a build for the 5 week hardcore. What would you suggest for 100% solo play? Like, what is a good build to do that with the current meta?
Just the OPs like Cyclone, Poison Arrow, SRS. Well, not maybe I don't know about SRS, but Incinerate definitely.
I'd say
Pick any of the
Cyclone,
OPs.
because Cyclone's so easy to do self-fan as well, and you can craft yourself an axe pretty well.
Yeah, you'd probably know a lot more about that
Hmm.
than I do.
I'm actually gonna make a Cyclone like starting guide pretty soon.
That's good.
So Titus is asking, is it possible to join the guild Nice Build? If so, how?
I don't know. It's not really like a serious guild or anything. It's like basically for people just to link items to each other and troll each other. I don't know.
Mhm.
If you really want to join, you'd probably just know someone in the guild and map with someone and just be a decent player. Not really much to it.
5EC is asking, Havoc, what build would be your pick for the trio fight in Alluring Abyss Hardcore?
If I was to farm Uber Theory again in hardcore, I'd probably make something similar to the super tanky Aegis guy I made back in the day for it. Just do a
Mhm.
2 character thing. One character to Vols and Aziri, and one character for the trio. Something really tanky, high armor, high fire res.
Mhm.
I don't know
And,
if it'd be melee or something with Incinerate, but I don't know.
and I don't know if you did, but I know Weasel farmed Uber Theory like the first before, or they killed Val and then farmed up to the trio. How do you feel about farming that for XP? Like, do you think that's a good way to go for maps and XP?
I think before, maybe in the Tempest map drop system, it would have been a decent idea. You farm Dread Lake, then you farm normal Zeri, and then you farm Uber Zeri, and then you start ambushing your high maps.
Mhm.
And you just go straight, skip all the boring map, well, not boring, but skip all the map progression, and you go straight to 81s, 82s. Now, I don't think it's that important because leveling your gems and finding gear is pretty important, so I think the map, you generally want to go through the map progression system.
Mhm.
So now it's not that mandatory. Maybe in softcore where you can get away with like weaker builds. I know a lot of people farm with poison arrow, but it's not like always deathless, right?
Yeah. And do you feel like Poison Arrow needs a nerf, or
I don't think so.
is the
You
survivability a
kind of
good
need a
enough
lot of
limit?
gear to make it work.
Yeah.
Like for example, like the day one character I had, I think I died at 85. Like I could not really go past 75, 74 maps. It was pretty inefficient when I started doing them. So well, you generally need to get that 21 gem, and you really need that +3 bow and just everything. Like the jewels, everything could potentially just all comes together, and that allows you to do the top tier maps. I think a lot of people they just see stuff on streams of like people with their like characters that are like really OP, really strong.
Yeah.
But like these are people that have invested a lot into their characters, you know? Like Etup's Cyclone, like he invested a lot into that character. He had a head on it.
Yeah.
So they see these OP builds and they see me with like, oh no, 33k poisoner with the poisoner OP, nerf, nerf, nerf.
Yeah.
Stress OP,
I
this is OP,
gotta
OP,
agree with that.
OP.
Like, I think most builds, even if not part of the current meta, if you sink
Yeah.
50 exalts into it, it's still gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, I think like if you're gonna analyze whether you're gonna nerf something, you should look at the gear progression and like at what levels of gear, like what level map it can do. Like for example, Poisoner you can't really do above 75, 74 master +2 bow and level 19 gem with a couple decent jewels. I think at a drill neck too, which is not an easy item to get on the first day as well. So if you're gonna nerf something, you should analyze what type of gear the character has at the time. And if you think it's OP for like one part, like it's OP for Dry Lake, for example, then yeah, nerf it for Dry Lake, but don't nerf it for like endgame. No, that's kind of hard to do, but that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, for sure. So, Project PT is asking, discuss the balance of Taste of Hate. Do you think it's OP? Do you think it's a bit silly that it's mandatory for most builds? How do you feel about Taste of Hate?
I want to say it's pretty OP, especially if you have a flask character. I remember in Tempest, on the first 2 characters I got 100 on, I specifically didn't buy one just because like 10 exalts for a flask? What is this nonsense? I refuse to buy it. I was like, this is like BS. I'm not spending 10 exalts for a flask. I'd rather spend 10x on my maps.
Scam? Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was just like, no way, not doing it. Then I got 200 on both characters out Taste of Fate. Then this league, play with the Taste of Fate, and I'm just like, yeah, Taste of Fate's pretty OP.
Yeah.
I think I was just playing extra safe on those characters.
And on the balance debate, how do you feel about Combs versus Coil?
Depends on what you think is more scary. Whether it's Elemental or Fizz. I think Combs is in a fine place right now. Coil, I kind of want to say it feels kind of mandatory because speccing into armor, like I feel like your character right now needs some sort of mitigation system for physical damage. So my favorite combo is always good evasion because I like stuff that's cheap, like quote unquote cheap on the skill tree or passes or item slots, whatever. To get mitigation, like back in the day, that was casting damage taken Mortal Call. That's gone. You can't really use that anymore. So that the next cheapest way I think is to use Grace. You get 50% mitigation. Well, not mitigation, but 50% chance to evade, which is pretty good. That alone won't save you. Then you throw on top like a coil and other stuff. Then you get pretty tanky.
Yeah. And how do you feel about items like that are borderline mandatory?
It's not really good. Like, it just kind of sucks. It's like, hey, I found a High Resire. Oh wait, I can't use it. Oh, I found Queen of the Forest. Oh wait, I can't use it. Could rather wear my level 19 Cloak of Flame. It's not good.
Let's see, just looking through the questions. Is there anything you feel is missing from the game? Is there like anything you wish was in the game? Like, I don't know, like something from that you've seen in another game, like for example Diablo or something that you wish was in Path?
What I really wish was that Bloodlines was not in the game. I feel like they just straight up copied that from Diablo. I don't know. Like Storm Bears is like bears in general is just it just feels so lazy and painful. I don't know. Like I remember when we were playing Almaz, like we were doing that 6-man party and stuff. Like literally every 2 minutes, like you're all yelling bears, 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 and like people are logging out and stuff. It's just not fun. So I know that wasn't really what you asked, but that was the first thing that came to my mind when you mentioned Diablo. For what does this game need?
Yeah, like what would you add to this game to push it forward?
Build diversity is a very easy one, but
yeah, but I'm thinking more content.
Content. Well, as I said earlier, I really like more boss fights. That would be really fun. The alternate endgame content is always really good. Yeah, I'd say a new boss scenario or something. Like, I
Hmm.
don't know.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised they haven't added more masters. Like, for example, a Jewel Master.
I think that'd be too OP since jewels have 4 mods
Hmm.
and you can easily craft perfect stuff that way. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, this is not necessarily what they should add, but I think they should rethink the party HP scaling.
Uh-huh.
And remember, like back in the day, we'd play 6-player parties all
Yeah.
the time. Now we do it, and it's just like,
I don't
I
like
don't
going
know,
above
man. This is
4 for
kind of
sure.
sucks. Yeah. This league, for example, like we're clearing springs, like just me and a friend, 60 million per hour. Oh, for other people join the party, it's like 25 million an hour now.
Yeah.
It's like, and we're still doing the same map. It's just that much slower now because everyone has to be doing insane damage if they want to be able to play a 6-player party. And I think they should rethink that and make party playing like easier.
Yeah. Like, in my opinion as well, it is actually slightly scarier to play in a 6-man group just because there's so many effects. There's a lot of things you might be missing.
Yeah.
Like,
I find it really annoying. It's like I have to ask them, what build are you playing? Oh, I'm sorry, your build sucks. You can't join.
yeah, for
Like,
example,
it's not
Mjolnir,
it's not a fun
Incinerate.
conversation to have.
Yeah.
And yeah, also like, hey, I'm sorry, you're playing Mjolnir. You can't join. You're too laggy.
Yeah.
I saw someone post in chat right now. I think some new guild stuff would be pretty cool as well. Like
All right.
I think people have been asking for that for a long time. That'd be huge. More friend slots. Like been wanting
Yeah.
that for a while.
Want to
Like
buy
every time
more
someone
friend
needs to add someone, I have
slots.
to like remove someone. It's really annoying.
I can't even add people anymore. Just
Yeah.
most of the people on my friends list right now is literally active. It's crazy. So I'm surprised. That would be big for GGG as well. I think a lot of people would buy some friend slots. Um, so do you feel like map drops now are where they should be, ignoring the
I
last
think
league
they're
mod?
fine
Yeah.
because you don't need to run 82 maps right now. Like obviously it's nice, but people that are chaining 82 maps are most likely box rolling. And they're
Yeah.
not going to be getting that much more XP because you can still run a 78 probably faster than them, assuming you both have builds of equal strength.
Hmm. And on that note, do you feel like Domination Ambush is a little too mandatory to keep and maintain a good map base right now?
In the competitive new league aspect,
Like, do you wish they would tone?
ambush is not, I wouldn't say it's mandatory, it's more of something that a group would use for a bit just
Mm,
to get some maps, I'd say. But I think that you'd switch to domination after for more XP per
yeah,
hour, and then you'd be okay with going up and down between 70 and 82.
I think it is a
Um,
little
and it
slightly
is
too
really strong
mandatory.
for a group that can do it compared to a group or solo player that can't.
Hmm.
Like a solo player dominating other maps, they're screwed. 10 chaos per map,
Yeah,
but a bigger party and it's like really cheap.
yeah,
However, I think a lot of it is because for the permanent leagues and stuff, people want to level fast, and that's a currency sink for them.
yeah.
I have a feeling that's one of the reasons why they haven't changed it yet.
Hmm. That's true.
It
So
sucks for like temporary leagues, but I guess there's also the permanent league factor.
yeah, about temporary leagues and permanent leagues. Like, how do you feel about the economy difference in a 1 month compared to a 3 month? Because obviously that is a massive change.
Kind of feel like it was the same. I don't know. It was hard to say because they just recently buffed the top tier uniques
Hmm.
and stuff. It's uniques for like crazy cheap. Like after I died, I bought my shafts for 3.5x.
Yeah,
It's crazy. Like I sold what I think I found 3 soul takers and 2 Mjolnirs this league or something.
yeah.
I've seen like 4 Mjolnirs drop. Like it's crazy the amount of just good stuff that drops now.
I know, but I've also felt like I've had to
It's really
undersell
hard to
my items
say and
quite a
compare
lot.
this economy to the previous one.
That's very true. So, Desperado J is asking, could you talk a little bit more about support builds? Like what to focus on, triple curse, Aurabot, quad curse, conduit?
It depends on who you're supporting. Like for example, if people are doing burn prolif, you really want to focus on like flammability, weakness, EE, and stuff, right? And you wouldn't really worry about like conduit that much. For example, if I'm playing Ball Spark, you really want you're gonna have to pick like Avatar Fire and stuff. You're gonna have to really get conduit, Ramirez. So it's very dependent on who you're supporting. So you kind of tailor it around your party. Then there's some specific needs too, like Vol Sparker wears Voidbringers, and if you're running Vol Haste, the guy's gonna go in like 0.3 seconds or something. So now you have to even run Vol Clarity, and you kind of just have to like take into account all these factors beforehand. So if you don't really know who you're gonna support, you just make something that can easily change in between like a bunch of builds or something.
Hmm.
Maybe just say, okay, here are the 5 meta builds. How would I support each of these 5 meta builds? Then you plan your tree accordingly.
Yeah.
On that note, most top tier parties that will clear really fast, and you're gonna want Quill Rain to keep up.
And on the
I
topic,
did see one decent Whirling Blade support with Shock Nova. I thought that was pretty cool. So
really,
maybe I'm wrong
I didn't see
on
that.
the Quill Rain idea, but so
Yeah,
far
Quill
I've
Rain
seen Quill
seems
Rain be
very,
way better
very
than Spring
strong,
Ice.
especially with Ice Shot.
Yep.
And how do you feel on the idea of self-supporting? Like, you didn't run a Deidre's Damning on your Poison Arrow, right?
Yeah. I
Whereas
think it's
both
if you,
on
I think
Cycloner, my Cycloner, and Steel Poison's PA, both of us ran self-support with Dual Curse. How do you feel about that? And do you think that would have made you survive, for example, the min-max map that killed you?
I think what I map I died in was just like doing a bad map at the time, and I was kind of just like I didn't know. I did not expect Igna to do like that much damage. It's like, yeah, she hit me for like a couple thousand. I
That
just
was pretty crazy.
used one potion, and then I just insta died after I used the potion. I was like, oh, okay. It was actually how I died both my times. Like I learned something. I just did not expect the damage. Now, next time I'm gonna respect the mob more.
Yeah,
Also -16, temp chains, no regen. Like it's 3 nasty mods in one.
yeah.
Just need to respect the map mods more. Sometimes you get cocky, sometimes you're not even like cocky, you just don't realize how dangerous certain combination is
Yeah,
until you see it. That
I
was one
think
of those situations.
complacency is like the #1 top killer for high-end.
Yep. Yeah.
And speaking of rips, do you have like, obviously there's been a lot of rip videos this season. Has there been any like top 2, top 3 rips of other people you've seen that you were like, ha, that was really entertaining? Like
Yeah,
any
that
rips you
probably
really
is, but off
liked?
the top of my head, it's hard to remember.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't think I could pinpoint one
I think
necessarily.
Caboose is mine.
I remember watching Vanguard drip the other day. I was pretty
Yeah, on
surprised how much
popcorn.
damage he took.
Hmm.
That was pretty crazy. Like it
It
was out of fire and poison on hit and one mob. He had 6 endurance charges and fortify, and he just damn wow, it was insane. I was
yeah.
not expecting that.
I think he whispers or something under his breath as well right before he says shotgun or something right before he
Yeah,
dies, which is crazy. So he like
yeah,
did
because he
notice
was
it.
not expecting it either. Like I don't know.
Yeah. No, I
And
wouldn't
I
have
think there was
expected
another
that.
video too. Some guy was doing like a 0 damage mod map, and except for GMP, and some golem that spawned just like GMP one shot him.
Yeah.
That's like crazy. Like, also another 9k HP Marauder. It's crazy.
Hmm.
You can make your character so tanky, yet there's still these like 1 in a million like situations that are just gonna kill
The
you.
perfect storm.
Yeah, the perfect storm. Like I'm tempted to say mine was too, but I think mine was more of a map problem.
Yeah. So Allure is asking, what is your favorite map in terms of layout and difficulty, but for your average build, not Valspark?
Favorite map in terms of layout and difficulty. They're like two opposite
Gorge
things
doesn't
because
count.
usually people like you think layout, you're like, okay, what's the easiest, most linear map,
Yeah,
right?
Gorge.
Gorge, Plateau, all the
Plateau.
OP ones. I'm not sure how to incorporate difficulty into that equation.
Like if the boss is particularly hard, I
Yeah.
guess.
I don't know. Palace is a pretty fun map. It's a pretty fun map to clear efficiently, I think. Requires some thought. You can still clear it pretty well.
Yeah.
Channels, actually, I don't like the boss in channel. I think it's a silly boss.
How do you feel about the boss placements? For example, Desert, Jungle Valley, Dungeon, and like the early maps that have really,
Okay,
really
I think
rippy
Desert
bosses.
is like really silly. They should just move that up a tier or something.
Yeah, but especially compared to things like Arsenal, which is a 79 map, and I'm pretty sure I can go AFK on that boss fight.
I don't know, man. He punches pretty hard. I've been hit pretty hard by his melee attacks before. Think we're using that same mentality. So I don't know.
But like the Arsenal boss compared to
Yeah,
like
he's definitely
Dungeon
easier.
even.
Like if you just move a bit, you're not gonna die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Well, not all players are gonna make it to like Arsenal maps or the top tier maps, for example. So they let players choose their own difficulty, which
Oh,
they'll learn just by trying the bosses. And I think it's good to have some strong bosses like beforehand.
yeah.
Like Torture Chamber, for example. I think it's a really well designed boss fight.
Yeah.
Like you got the beams to hide. You can hide behind the pillars and stuff. Like it's really good.
And what about
And then just
Orchard? Do you
fun
think
boss
that is
fights like that is
overskilled?
good. Oh yeah, it's just silly.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have died to Orchard. And what about the Village Ruin boss? Do you feel like that is
Well, on the
balanced?
note of Orchard, and I guess
Hmm.
the Village in the second year is like it's probably because of the meta. No one's really running the high super tanky armor builds right now, because if you run an armor build, you're probably gonna do no damage, and if you do no damage, you can't clear top tier maps.
Yeah.
So if the meta was including, lots of high tanky armor builds, people would be like, yeah, man, Orchard boss is so easy. What do you mean you can't kill it? What do you mean you can't kill Village Ruin boss? But you just don't have damage if you make something really tanky nowadays.
See, there's a comment in the stream chat at the moment. It says, by the time you do a dual boss Village Ruin, you could do 2 more maps, which is true and very unrewarding. Do you feel that bosses aren't worth it at the moment? And
Beforehand, but in Tempest, I felt like you basically wanted to kill the boss all the time. Like you got a lot of maps that way. Now, I'm not too sure.
because I find
For
myself
example, when I was
skipping the
racing
boss a
Steel,
lot.
like I could easily kill the Palace boss. I was like, hey man, I gotta catch up. I'm gonna not waste 2 minutes here killing this boss. I'm gonna go and just do another map. So
Yeah, I kind of wish they buffed the drop rate of maps
and
slightly.
factor and stuff, and just like don't really care too much about optimizing. I think it's fun to like attempt those crazy fights, and I think
Yeah.
everyone should try them here and there, even if it's not efficient, unless they're like rank 2 on the ladder going for like rank 1 or something.
Yeah.
It's like one scenario. If you're not in that scenario, just play for fun.
Yeah, I should have done that. Um, and on that note, let's see. There was one question I was looking at. Huh. Okay, I can't find it. Oh, right. There's one question I saw earlier. I'm not sure where it is now. Do you wish there was an alternate leveling method instead of just pushing the quests 3 times?
I have mixed feelings on that. Like personally, I don't enjoy leveling new characters at all. But then I know that a lot of people that play PoE, they can't even get to level 60.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that's one of the reasons that GG hasn't really added anything like an alternate leveling method yet, where you could just like instantly get to like level 60 or something like really fast.
Mhm.
Maybe if like a lot of other players, was like really easy for them to get to 60 or something, for example, they would change it up. I think that's also another reason why they aren't really adding high level races.
Yeah.
Races where you start at level 30, level 40, stuff like that. Because for a lot of players, getting to that level is difficult. And I'm not trying to sound leads or anything. They're just haven't played enough to learn the mechanics enough yet.
Oh yeah, for
PoE
sure.
is
I
a
mean,
difficult
the
game
the,
for someone
the
that
game
doesn't play,
changes completely
that
once.
uses a computer a lot, or just
Yeah.
doesn't play games in general. It's difficult.
Yeah.
It starts off really slow. Your character's really weak. You can data Merville and stuff.
Yeah.
Brutus.
Even just mastering the keyboard and mouse and like being really fluent with it is like kind of a must to do well in PoE.
Yep.
Asphalt is asking, I plan on going SRS new week, this 1 month. Is there any general tips for SRS? Which is going to be a big thing for a lot of players because a lot of people
For
want to try that.
SRS, you generally want to focus on gearing. You shouldn't be worrying too much about map clearing early on. You want to do, I would even consider like false barking or just playing something that can farm a lot of currency really fast. And you either want to know someone that's going to get Vegan 7 to get you the Blood Magic Craft. Since I think that's the superior version because you can run Grace. I think Grace is really good. I like Evasion, it's really cheap defense. You just get an All Foul and Grace and you have like 50% chance to not get hit. It's really good. Focus a lot on the currency gain, then either help someone get Vegan 7 or work on Vegan 7 yourself.
Superfist was asking, what was the links you had in your Valspark?
Wallspark, Echo, Life Leech, Pierce, Faster Proj, and Increased Duration.
And White Hubbard is asking, what is your favorite map or act to play? Not to like be efficient, but what do you like the most? Enjoy. So if
I
you're
like Act
discerning.
4.
So you think that was a good addition to the game?
I think it's a lot of the factor because it's new, and boss fighting is fun. I enjoy it. Act 4 just happens to have the most bosses, so there you go.
Havoc, how big of a detriment is never picking up loot to push XP? And what do you recommend always picking up besides currency?
Generally, you want to always pick up like Axe currency and then one-slot items like rings, amulets, jewels, anything that does not take up a lot of inventory space and requires a lot more inventory micromanagement. Generally, want to minimize that. And
Hmm. Is there
he
any
says like
bigger
don't pick up a
items you
lot of
always want to
loot.
pick up?
I know a lot of people would say, "Hey, why are you not picking up items?" You know, it's because I already have so many items in my shop that I have enough stuff that's going to sell. I have enough currency to play with at the time. If I really want to just get rich, I would literally just pick up probably every item and stuff and just sell it a lot, especially in the first week. Like that's when you can probably make like
Yeah.
easily 100 or 200 results.
Patrick is asking, will you be streaming after this AMA?
Uh, Probably. I need to kind of rush myself to level 100 right now.
Yeah, do you
It's like
think you
funny
will
you
get
saying about
100?
that. I was like really tired today. When we were talking last night, I ended up playing somewhere and dominating those plateaus, and I farmed like another 38% XP. I think I'm like 1% away from 99 right now.
Hmm.
So there's like 3 days till this league ends. Like, is it or tonight, Sunday night, and then one day for a bit? You get 100% XP. I don't know. I've only been playing 4 hours a day, so I think 99 to 100 usually takes between like 10 to 20 hours. I'll probably have to like increase my playtime one of these days by a lot, which I don't really want
Yeah.
to do. But I guess I have to if I want to hit the goal.
Yeah, and do you think you will hit 100 before Monday?
I think I will because did mostly all the low maps like the 50 canyons and all that stuff. I think plateaus were like 42 million an hour yesterday soloing, but the support should at least be 45 million an hour. So yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty easy. I have a lot of high maps now.
Hmm. Let's see. Victor is asking what builds require the least investment but can still do very well. So, for example, which one of the meta builds do you think is the cheapest?
Cheapest probably incinerate. If you
Hmm.
want something, it's not the best because if you want to be the best, you're gonna have to put an investment. But if you want minimal investment, then just go incinerate.
Talksdorf is asking, talking of gear progression, will we see another Havoc diary in the next leagues with gear and skill tree progression?
I guess I could do that depending on whatever build I'm playing. Yeah,
Hmm.
those are pretty easy. On that note, I think it's a great skill to learn in general. Just to be able to look at a tree or someone's gear and just to figure out how their build works and stuff like that. Like I don't know, maybe I'm just like played this game too long or been asked too many questions too long. Like sometimes I wonder, it's like, hey, I have the gear here, I have some basic questions answered, like the kind of the obvious stuff, and then and the skill tree and the jewels. Like, what more do you need? Sometimes I get confused. I don't know. I think it's a skill that people should try to learn because then you can look at all the other random builds. You compare them to your own builds and you go like, oh, this guy takes this node, or if I took this node and I ran this aura, or I used this like curse or something.
Yeah.
It allows you to create new concepts and innovate. I think it's a really good skill to have.
Yep. And on the subject of like rarity and quantity, do you like go out of your way to try to get that in some of your gear early on to make some extra currency, or do you not bother about that at all?
If you can easily fit it in, I would. But if it's a detriment to your clear speed or to your survivability, it
Hmm.
depends on how big of a detriment it is. You kind of have to make that judgment yourself.
Hmm.
Um,
So if you
yeah, I
could, you'd
usually
wear
always
Aventurous
go for
Gamble if you get a
killing
good
more
one.
mobs. Just kill as many mobs as you can. I think like the Wallspark's a perfect example. I think
Yeah.
last night while I was mapping solo for a couple hours, I found an Aegis, I found a Rumies, I found like I don't know. Let me just go to my stash right now and take a peek
Streamer
here.
RNG.
Whispering Ice, Rat's Nest, Incandescent Heart, Lahoop, a couple Barracks Rings. What else is in here? A Lightning Coil, Supreme Truth, Unique Hellion Paw, Unique Great Old One's Word, Pledge of Hands, Dune Kupiar. Like that's all from last night. And I have
Wow.
minus 12 rarity, by the way. Minus 12.
That's pretty crazy.
Plus 8 quantity, but I think with Beyond, it just, because you're killing a lot more mobs per map, it just shows how important it is to kill a lot of mobs and kill them really fast. Ballspark really exaggerates that point.
Yeah. And on the subject of rarity, quantity, and like RNG in general, how much do you figure RNG plays in like winning the ladder?
I think there's a misconception that you have to get really lucky to be rich in a new league. People that are rich every single league, they're not getting lucky. They're
Hmm.
just doing the exact same thing.
But
Like they
more about
know they're gonna
pushing the
make
top
currency.
five.
Just they like everyone is in this league. Everyone that plays this game is eventually gonna find a pair of gloves that have 70 life and one resist,
Yeah.
70 life dual res. You know, and like that's how we make money. We find a lot of those items and we just sell them early while no one else has them, and you make a lot of currency.
But not so much just about currency, but for example, like map drops and pushing the ladder, like top five. Do you think luck plays a lot, or is it all skill and knowledge?
Maybe a minor part. I don't think RNG is that big of a difference.
Hmm.
Maybe in like okay, now we have an extreme example of Spark that, you know, if you let's say you manage to get it going by cruel dried lake. Well, let's say you are like neck and neck with there's two groups. One group has a Sparker, other one doesn't.
Yeah.
And the group with the Sparker manages to get, you know, Chill of Corruption and 3 Harvest by Cruel Dried Lake. They're gonna get to level like 75 on Cruel Dried Lake while the other group's progressing.
Yeah.
And then the Dried Lake guy is just gonna leech the progression, and then he's gonna go to like Marissa's Dried Lake and then just carry everyone instantly to level 80. They're just gonna blow by everyone. So yeah, that's an extreme example, but
Hmm.
most likely stuff like that is not gonna happen. Spark aside, I don't think it makes too big of an impact.
And Bazoo is asking, so obviously there's the trading is very manual right now. So if TGG implemented a trading system, what would you like to see in it? Or how do you feel about the current trading system?
I've thought about that, and I'm honestly not too sure what type of trading system I'd like to see. Like,
Hmm.
I
So how do
kind
you,
of want to say the current system is good enough, but
yeah, how do you feel
I don't
about
know.
like a system like an
I'm not too
auction
sure.
house?
Pardon?
How do you feel about, for example, an auction house?
I have really mixed feelings because, like, I know what Chris said. Like, you need some inefficiency in the trading systems, so prices don't just plummet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if you can just sort by buyout in game, like, it would be really fast. And I don't know.
Yeah, personally
I'm
I
honestly
don't
not
like
too
auction
sure. Like,
house.
obviously, it'd be great for me just to like I don't even like to like. There's a lot of times I forget to trade people in between maps just because I'm doing the next map already.
Hmm.
When I do trade people, it's because like they're already in my hideout waiting for me. So I guess it would help me a lot, but if it's to the detriment of the game, I'd rather take some inconvenience on my own end just for like a better game overall. So I'm not too sure what my opinion is on that.
And do you feel like a lot of people do try to scale defenses pretty hard, but do you feel like having armor lost value compared to like how much mitigation you lost out of it?
I don't think armor was ever worth it.
Hmm.
It's just always inefficient when you can just spec a lot of damage. Damage is survivability. Like I think the Vol Sparker I'm playing right now is a perfect example of that. Like even before I have the Spark up, like I don't have any grace. I have like zero mitigation except for Taste of Hate, which is not
Hmm.
always up. And yeah, I have a lot of damage. I just like freeze and one-shot mobs. Like that's my survivability, killing stuff before it gets to me. We're using Whirling Blades to position really well. Positioning is another thing that people can learn to take advantage of, which again relates to what I said earlier. I really like to play builds that can move, so I can utilize
Yeah.
positioning to survive and stuff.
On that note, actually, Fred Pue is asking, when did you realize Valspark could have been a nice build? Like, 'cause this is your second or third time playing Valspark, right?
Um, I think it's my third time, yeah.
Hmm.
I think it was when I saw like the guy carrying Etup doing a drive. Like I was, okay, that looks pretty fun. Then I had a friend in Heartscore actually doing the same build at the time, and I partied with him for a bit. I was like, man, this looks really fun. Asked him some questions about the build, and I tried it myself. And I was like, man, this is really fun. Okay, this is a nice build. I never really knew how good it was in maps. I know in the old map system in Tempest, where you have to do really hard maps all the time, it was not fun at all. Didn't have a support either back then, and you kind of have to have a support to do high maps.
Hmm.
Because when you like EE or just like even with a map without EE or resist or enfeeble or endurance charges or whatever, what have you, you get like some resist elemental mobs. It's like really annoying because you don't have lightning pen on the build because you're running Call of the Brotherhood, and yeah, those mobs are really
Yeah.
annoying. So you have to learn to like skip those mobs, and you can't full clear them out. You don't get as many map drops, and you start breaking down. It was really frustrating back then, but now I think It's not so bad. It's like now you just all regal maps, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And someone's asking about your Dark Shrine plans, which you said earlier you weren't sure what build to go. Is there
I
any
have
build you're
no idea.
considering? And team-wise, like, are you gonna be playing solo, or do you have any people that you're gonna be playing with? What's
Know a couple people that are interested in playing. Don't really know what their plans are exactly. I
Mhm.
don't even know what my plan is for the league. Is the plan of the league to get Rush 100? Is it to get rich? Is it to like do Uber? Like I don't know. I don't really have a goal yet. I guess I'm kind of a goal-driven person, and I don't have anything to go for. It's just like, what's the point, right? I like to do things efficiently. It's kind of hard for me to just like casually play. If that makes sense
Yeah.
without something to like go towards. As for the
Um,
build, I don't know. It's kind of thing about Reed, but like I don't know how great that's gonna be. It's another issue right now. I want to get the 100, but I also want to test out some builds.
yeah. Let's see. We're getting a lot of repeat questions here as well, like about the current meta,
Yeah,
if it's stable, which we answered earlier. I'll make a highlight of this later. Yeah. Allura actually has a good point here. How do you feel about the tier 7 of maps? Because, at least in my opinion,
tier
they're pretty much
7.
all bad. 74 maps. Jungle Valley, stuff like that. Torture Chamber.
Jungle Valley is really good. What?
Mm, I like
Well,
Jungle Valley, but for
okay, if
example,
you just don't include the boss,
yeah.
which usually the boss usually just requires a decent amount of physical mitigation and good chaos res. Chaos people usually don't have good chaos res, which is why they get wrecked.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think the layout's really fast. You can like that's one of my favorite maps to run. You just go down
No,
one
for
lane, come
sure,
back the
but
other,
if you
and
think
done.
about it, the bosses in pretty much all of the tier 7 maps aren't great. Like, for
Torture
example, if
Chamber is really easy. I don't know.
yeah, but a lot of new players, for example, don't like them. Like, the thing I find with tier 7s is they don't really sell. Like, tier 6s and 8s sell like popcorn, and then I'm stuck with lots of tier 7s.
Okay, I guess Terrace is a really annoying layout.
Hmm.
Waste Pool is it's not the best layout, but I feel like it's a fairly easy map.
You do
Kind
a
of
lot
need
of
some chaos
backtracking,
resist
though.
for it. Yeah, the backtracking is annoying, but Torture Chamber, I don't know. I've always really enjoyed finding Torture Chambers in New League. I felt it was a really good layout. It's not a Ballspark layout, but for general like or any other build, I think it's a good layout. And I think the boss is pretty easy.
Hmm.
Jungle Valley, just skip the boss, it's fine. Mine is pretty annoying. So yeah, I guess someone posted the maps in chat. Torture Chamber, Waste Pool, Jungle Valley, I'd say are pretty good. Then
Hmm.
just skip the boss and Jungle Valley. Then Terrace and mine are it's annoying maps to run because of the layout. They're not that bad.
Yeah.
And yeah, for boss skipping, let's say only Jungle Valley. Maybe Torture Chamber depending on the mods if you feel weak. And probably
Yeah.
skip Terrace.
And if you were to pick between AA and Grace for Incinerate, which one would it be?
Grace, 100% always.
Hmm. Let's see. So Sir Translate was asking how top players that do great on leagues never hit level 100 on races. Like, how do you feel like the difference between like the races and league plays, and how
So
early?
like the
Oh,
shorter leagues, like the 1 hour races and stuff
well,
like
yeah.
that.
And how important do you feel like the early game in a 1 month, for example, is? Like, for example, I am horrible at the first
Yeah,
six
I'm pretty
hours.
bad at the early game
Yeah.
too. I don't think it makes that big of a difference. I honestly think at least in 1.3, I don't know if this holds true now, that you could literally not play the first 2 days in a new league. Just like log in on day 3, get some leveling gear, and you can easily get rank 1.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that holds true. Not too sure about that. And I think the other part of the question was like, how important is it? Or yeah, it's not that important, but another reason is that a lot of the people that play early on, like they do a lot of the shorter races, they don't practice
Hmm.
endgame. So if the majority in the 1 month, let's say the goal is level 100, right?
Yeah.
People that are doing the thousands of maps are, if the majority of the race is in the end game portion, the people that mostly play end game, they're probably gonna get ahead, which usually happens. Like the top tier racing group is always like 30 minutes to like 2 hours ahead of like the next group or something. And then the group that maps a lot, they just like go way past them. It's because they played it more. I'm sure if we or like I practiced early racing a lot, I could probably like maybe catch up to them.
Mhm.
Probably not, since they probably have thousands of hours now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if they also like practice like mapping a bit, they could probably increase their mapping skill as well.
And how do you feel like being solo versus being in a group for pushing number one on the ladder race? Because obviously you were playing in a group while re-leveling and pushing for like you were trying to catch up Steel Poison.
It really depends on what the build is and like how the builds that people are playing and how well they synergize with each other.
Hmm.
Poison Arrow right now just happens to be a really good solo build, and it's just horrible for party play unless you have really good gear. You have to have really good duels, and you need like a six-wing bow. You have like a base, and you need a level 4 in power. You kind of make level 3 if your duels are really good. So that's mostly why I was playing solo. If my build had really good party synergy, I would be playing in a party, but it just happened to be the build I was playing.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like back then in 1.3, like party play was mandatory for top tier clears. Because like, yeah, Flame Blast could clear pretty fast solo, but you needed that support. And it was also really nice to have that third guy clear some of the stragglers.
And Genius UK is asking, why is Havoc called Havoc? What is the story behind your name?
Um, I think I got the name Havoc from playing Diablo 1. I was like, I don't know if like an NPC said it in game or something. I was like, oh, the monsters are wreaking havoc or something. Like, I don't know. I think maybe it was a synonym for destruction, or I don't know how I got it exactly, but I think it had something to do with Diablo 1. I
Hmm.
was like, okay, this sounds kind of cool. Let's just go with this.
Cool.
And
And
then the
have you?
HVC part, I guess, like the three-letter names that kind of
Yeah.
came from like Diablo 2. A lot of people, they just loved it because those really short, cool names and stuff. I was like, okay, I kind of did that in PoE.
And have you always liked games like this? Like, did you play Diablo 1, Diablo 2, stuff like that?
Yeah, played Diablo 1, Diablo 2, played D3, was not happy, saw Crypt streaming PoE, like D3 alternative. I was like, hey, this game looks pretty fun.
Yeah, like I
And
know a
tried
lot
it
of
out,
people are
and I was hooked.
saying Path of Exile is the spiritual successor to Diablo 2. Do you feel that is a pretty good way of saying it?
Yeah, I think you can sort of argue that, yeah.
Hmm.
It's actually funny. I remember, like, after playing PoE for a while, going back to D2 and then just playing for a bit, I was like, man, there's like, you'd be missing all these like, quality of life features, like the loot and just like all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd say PoE is definitely an upgrade to D2. But you
If,
never get the
if
nostalgia
if
from
you
it.
could put one Diablo 2 feature in to Path of Exile right now, what would it be?
Hmm.
Like, for example, just to
Tempted to
throw
say
some out there,
rune
like
words and stuff.
charms, rune words.
Charms would be annoying because the inventory management right now we
Yeah,
have in PoE.
for sure.
And like, yeah, it'd be really annoying. You'd basically have to have one guy in your party then just pick up all your loot while your inventory is just filled with just like charms and stuff.
And do you prefer like the gems to actually having skills on your character? Like obviously in Diablo you like leveled up
I
frozen
think I
orb.
like the gem system a lot.
Yeah,
It's
me
really
too.
cool.
And something else which is pretty unique to Path of Exile, how do you feel about the crafting system? Like not just the masters but the
Oh, I think the
orbs.
crafting system in PoE is really well done. The
Yeah.
choice of orbs and stuff, I like it a lot.
Hmm. And how do you feel about when they removed the Eternal Orb? Do you think that was a good choice? Was it too OP for crafting?
It was really strong, but like it only affected like the top 1% of the standard, right?
Hmm.
Like I don't know how big of an impact that had even happened in the game at all. I guess I did craft that dagger once, but that was like a one-time thing, you know? Like
Yeah.
it's pretty rare to like be able to buy a dagger of 300x and then put total 500 exalts into it. That was because, I sold a Zeri helmet was 20x each, and I sold a lot of Uber Zeri loot for a lot of currency. I kind of maybe you could get that rich again in the league, but that was like kind of a one-time thing. So I don't think it had too big of an impact for like 99% of the players.
Yeah. And how do you
And I
feel?
haven't done too much crafting, so I don't
Yeah,
think my
I was
opinion would be
about to
too
say.
accurate on the impact it has on the standard players.
I was about to say, do you feel it's better to just straight up buy your item or use some time crafting and hope to get lucky?
It depends. It's like, for example, Hubris is this league. I think the highest was like 370 or something, and after that there was like nothing, and
Hmm.
wasn't too many stuff between 300 and 370. So yeah, I was probably gonna try to just craft my Hubris. Luckily, you found a pretty good Solaris on it, which I am using now, but
Yeah, what was the ES on that?
I think it was like 370 or 80 with
Yeah.
int or something after Divine.
Nice
Pretty
friend.
nice. Nice friend.
Jeff's Diablo is asking, Havoc, how long do you wait before you downprice your item when it doesn't sell?
It depends on the item. That kind of comes with experience. For cheaper stuff, like a couple chaos, you could probably do it pretty soon, like a day or two.
Hmm.
For like GG items, like let's say you have a 1,000 armor helmet with like 90 life and like double resist, 50 strength. That's like pretty GG, and you could
Hmm.
probably leave that as at its buyout for a long time. So
Yeah.
generally in your shop, you're gonna have a mix of stuff that's like long-term sells. Like someone will eventually be willing to pay the buyout for it, and then you have a lot of like stuff you might even underprice just to get that quick short income to like sustain your mapping costs or whatever your current thing is at the time.
Hmm. See, that is a good thing, like, or a good question. Like, a lot of people struggle with, for example, like, you get a really good item, but you're really desperate for cash. Like, should you just hold on to it, or do you think
Depends on the
people,
league. Like let's say
yeah,
a 1 month,
just get rid of
what
it?
I've noticed was around the like 1.5 to 2 week mark, the trade slowly went down.
Hmm.
So maybe you'd hold off until that mark for a couple days or maybe a week beforehand before you like lower the price on it. But in like a 3 monthly, you can usually always get like the fairer value for it.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna buy it.
Hardin is asking about Incinerate. He's playing a max block minor matter EB, and he was wondering what he should do to get like a higher damage variant but still play safe. If you have any suggestions for Incinerate.
So he wants to play a different version, or
Yeah, he's looking to play a higher damage variant.
I like. Well, I don't really like block because I just think it's a really big investment. And I think
Hmm.
you can block is basically replacing like positioning as survivability and like potion management. Potions like granites, topaz, sapphire, all that stuff. I think if you invest into maybe like endurance charges and just like use position better and understand which mobs are gonna hurt you, um, spec more damage nodes and get more jewel sockets. Jewels are really OP. They get really good damage on them. Get like life and like 16% damage and stuff like that. 20% plus. First
Hmm.
collect triple damage jewels. So yeah, just look for a non-block build. I'm not saying the block build is bad or anything. It's just not my preferred playstyle. And if he wants more damage,
Yeah.
I think he wants to move away from block.
And so if we go into the melee meta right now, how do you feel about the two-hander, one-hander, or
I find
facebreaker
the melee meta
balance?
really funny. Before like this league started, everyone was playing Cyclone. Before 2.0 came out, like there's a bit of Reeve in there. Then like melee beta comes out and 2.0 comes out, everyone's like, yeah, man, melee's viable, yay! And like everyone goes hooray, clap their hands. And, like we get to high-end maps, and it's basically just Cyclone. Like
Yeah.
I haven't seen any other melee build like do that great. I think if you're
Sweep,
farming like
maybe.
maybe mid-tier maps now, especially with the nerf damage, 78 and under, I think you can probably get away with some of the other skills.
Yeah, I think it's basically
It's
Cyclone, Raven,
Cyclone's
Sweep.
just so good. Like moving is so good. I keep getting back to this. Having good positioning is something that's really underrated in PoE right now.
Hmm.
And then yeah, cycloning just allows you to move. It's huge.
Yeah,
I think we might see a comeback with Reeve eventually because we with
especially
Ball
with the
Reeve, it's
poison.
really good. Yep.
I sort of feel like Whirling Blades is a little OP compared to the other movement skills. It's so fast.
Uh, it's kind of annoying because it has a set distance. So it can be frustrating when you're trying to like maybe only walk a little bit forward, but then like pushes you really far ahead. And
Hmm.
also you can't go over barriers, so you're gonna have to get a second movement skill anyways. So you lose some gem slots there.
So like leveling wise, like how under leveled are you usually? For example, someone asked, what level do you start progressing in Merciless on a new league? And do you usually just farm Dried Lake and have other people like do the quests for you and like come in for that, or do you, yeah, how do you do that?
Kind of funny you say that. I think this league, I was very surprised that somehow, as a poison arrow build, I was playing a Incinerate with minimal damage nodes. I just literally did the whole progression for the party
Hmm.
from like Act 1 normal to like Act 4 Merciless or something. Act 4 normal, Act 4 normal. tactful, merciless. So it kind of depends on like the league. You don't usually like plan ahead of the time, but sometimes stuff happens. People get under leveled, then people will have to step up. This league was me.
Hmm.
Like I was over leveled. My character was decently strong, so I basically did the whole progression for the party. In a different league, if someone else got lucky, or maybe we messed up in farming, one guy falls behind, someone else will have to do the progression. It kind of depends on what happens, and you need to like be ready to adapt as you go. But generally, everyone usually shares the progression.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's optimal, I
And
think. But I'm not a racer, so like this is just my limited knowledge. I make a new character like what, maybe 3 times a league or something.
yeah.
And this is like a new league happens like what, every like one month or maybe every 3 months. So I have limited knowledge on this, but I find that works for me.
And do you ever wish you raced more, or is there anything that could be made to change the races to pull you in, or is it just not interesting to you?
I don't know, like everyone's playing the exact same thing, like in early game and like in those short races. I don't know. I just feel like there's not too much. There's not too many options. It's kind of like end game, There's only
Yeah.
like so many things you can do.
So Idris Terrible, do you think Taste of Hate is going to get nerfed?
Maybe, I don't know. Like
Like, is
even if
it
they
Taste
nerf
of
it, it's
Hate?
still gonna be mandatory,
Hmm.
almost. I think that if anything, they might just remove it from dropping, which I'm totally fine. Just grant them.
Yeah. Yeah, how do you feel like Granite versus Taste of Hate?
I think in low end mapping, and yeah, I think you want to use your granite. But once you get to high end maps, the granite becomes useless. You want to switch it.
So how important do you think like the social aspect of Path is? Like having a good group, a good guild, stuff like that?
I think having a party helps a lot and just
Hmm.
makes it fun. And like some guy's having really bad linking RNG. He just can't get a 5 link. He's used like 300 fusings. You throw 2 fusings at it, get a 6 link. It's always fun to do stuff like that. And helps a lot. Bouncing ideas off each other, like the pass tree is huge and stuff. There's a lot of items in the game. Being able to like give ideas to each other and like having someone to tell you like, hey, that idea is kind of silly, or
Hmm.
saying, hey, that maybe it's not so silly because of X or something. I think that's really good for theory crafting.
Yeah. And obviously we were talking about your played time earlier. Someone was asking, how do you have so much time to play? Like, are you a student?
Well, I guess that was based on that first question where I said I played a lot. I guess before I basically just had time off
Hmm.
from university, so that's why I could literally play as much as I want. And I wasn't that good back then, so I made up for that and just playing more. That's what a lot of people do.
Hmm.
But now that I have all that previous knowledge from before, and I don't need to play a lot anymore, I can play like a couple hours every day, but play really efficiently, and it's like equal to me playing maybe 10 hours back in the day or something. They do the same amount of like progression in that time.
Hmm. And Nerdy was asking, do you make a lot of builds off stream that don't work out?
Oh,
Or
I make so many builds. Like my offline sculpture planner has like so many builds in it. It's crazy. Just scrolling through it right now.
wow.
Takes me like 10 seconds to scroll all the way down. And yeah, it's like another good skill to have. Just mess around with trees and stuff like that. See if something is viable. Just mess around with skill trees. It'll teach you a
Yeah.
lot.
And like for a new player, do you feel like the skill tree is a little too intimidating? Like I personally love the skill tree in Path.
It can be if you don't take the time to examine it.
Hmm.
If you just open up the skill tree and then you just like, oh man, there's so many nodes. What do I do? Like you get confused. But my tip for that is just like open up the skill tree, download the offline skill tree planner first of all, then use the search function and just type like increased maximum life, and you see what all the life nodes are. And you're like, okay, then maybe type like two-handed damage. Like, okay, this is where the damage nodes are. And you can kind of get an idea about how people make their builds. I think a really good function for the offline sculpture planner would if you could like multi-search or something, so you could type like maximum life, two-hand swords, two-hand axes, and like, okay, these are where all the nodes I want for my build are. How can I connect them? Like
So sort of like
basically
PoE
connect the
trade.
dots. Yeah.
Yeah. Elite Lone is asking, what items do you chance? Like, do you, like, a lot of people would pick up like glorious
I
plates and
don't
stuff. Do you
chance anything
bother
anymore, pretty
chancing?
much. I might chance like Desert Brigandines here and there for coil, but
Hmm.
after they buffed the drop rate in that, I don't think I chance anything anymore.
Yeah. So you don't think?
Maybe just save it for Headhunter, but even that, like, maybe in a 3 month league, I might go with trying to chance one, but in a 1 month, don't really want to drop an Exalt in every map.
Hmm. Let's see.
Especially because I feel the 1 month it's really shorter. It's more about playing than about like progressing your character and stuff like that. At 3 months, you can spend more time theory crafting and trying out more stuff and just doing crazy chancing, etc.
Emma has pretty good questions about buffing Zana mods. Like, for example, that if you Zana mod Beyond, the Beyonds would drop maps. How do you think that would change things with everyone being forced to ambush and dom their maps?
Well, then everyone would just put Beyond on their maps. Then I don't know. It'd be pretty OP because you're gonna get a lot of mobs in that map.
Hmm.
Yeah, you just make a build that could decimate the Beyond mobs, and you just Beyond everything then, and then you do double
Yeah.
Beyond all day. It's probably gonna be. You could probably sustain 82s with that, if I'm guessing.
Yeah, for sure. How do you feel about Valpact at the moment?
I think the current state of Leech is horrible.
Hmm.
I think the fact that I have an anti-reflect ring on Sybils, I'm probably like the first guy to ever use that ring, and I have Volpack Life Leech. I have Flash Nodes, and I'm still almost dying to reflect. It's just absurd. It's insane. I think with Night Shot the other day, I almost died twice to reflect.
Hmm.
With all that stuff I just said, it's crazy.
And are you surprised at how dangerous Reflect still is, even though they've taken out like the pack Reflect?
I guess I don't know. I think it's more to do with like how bad Leech is. But yeah, it's still pretty crazy. Like, just, hey, I arced this mob and now I'm at 10% HP or ES. So it's kind of absurd, especially because I'm using the anti-reflecting, which like, no one uses.
Hmm.
And like, it's really annoying. Like, hey, I play a build with high damage, I have to use this crappy ring now. Why can't I wear this cool other ring or get a ring with stats on it?
Yeah.
It's frustrating. So yeah, it kind of goes back to the coil question earlier. Like, why are certain items mandatory? Like, is that healthy for the game? And I want to say no.
Hmm. Pineapples is asking, will you be attempting Uber again in a future 3-month league? And have you tried doing another damage immune build?
I have some top secret builds for Uber that I probably never stream because I don't want them to get nerfed. Because there's a tendency if whatever build I play gets nerfed, and yeah, I'm basically waiting for them to bring back, or not bring back, but make farming Uber worth it. Right now, it's not really worth it. Like, you get the mask, it's not really worth it. There's the garb, okay, it's a skin transfer, whatever. You have the axe, which is kind of worth it, I guess, but there's just so much risk involved. It's probably not worth it. It's probably easier just to buy cards and
Yeah.
stuff. And you have the gloves, which basically you can't really count on them dropping in hardcore because the builds aren't that safe right now that you can
Yeah.
consistently do like 100 runs. Also, I think Uber's like really stressful.
Hmm.
Like, I remember doing the farming Uber on my Mjolnir character in Bloodlines, and I don't know, it was really stressful doing it. Just like keeping your potions up. If you mess up once, you just instantly die. Like, it was not fun getting that stress.
Yeah. Marcin is asking, how do you feel about the change that rare monsters can no longer drop +2 maps? Do you think it forces rolling magic monsters on boxes too much, or was it a good change?
I think GG will eventually make rare mobs more desirable. Because rare mobs, like I think someone was telling me the other day, like a magic mob gives like 3 or 4 times as much XP as a white mob.
Hmm.
A rare mob gives like 5 to 5.5 or something.
Wow.
So why would you waste time killing this super tanky rare mob and just go obliterate that blue pack beside it, you know?
Yeah.
So I've been incorporating that into my play a lot. Like, hey, this guy's rare mob sucks, I'm just gonna skip it. It's the exact same as a blue mob. So I think we'll see some changes to rare mobs in the future. I don't know in what form, but I'm sure GGG has that.
And how do you
noted
feel that maps can only, like, the max obviously you can get right now from a map is a +2, and you only have a very low chance of that. But you can get like -10 basically. How do you feel about that?
I think we should all praise GGG for keeping our characters safe because +2 maps are very dangerous. um, but I guess on a serious answer, I don't know. The map drops. It's more than 1-to-1. Like if you run 10 maps, you're usually gonna get like 15 maps back. I think it's good to get some low maps back. I don't find it that bad.
Mhm.
And I think that's more of a case in like the 80, like the top red tier maps or whatever, where you you only get like one or two maps back because you get that swing where you're swinging between 78 to 82, and I don't think that's an issue that occasionally you have to go back down, and it makes the game more fun, I'd say, because you run a lot more layouts. Back then we were just running only 78, so it was like what, palace and courtyard, and that's it. Occasionally you do shipyard and giant. At least now there's like what, how many layouts you can do now? Running a lot of different layouts now is good.
Yeah. New Jack is asking, how do you feel about evasion builds? Like completely relying on evasion as your main mitigation.
It's never going to be your only mitigation. You have to combo it with some sort of physical mitigation, whether that be endurance charges with a high HP pool or coil or something, but I will generally try to get evasion on all my builds no matter what. I think the Ball Sparker is the very first build I played without evasion, and the only reason that works is because freeze. I can freeze stuff. So yeah, I'd personally, for me, my build's gonna have evasion no matter what, unless I have another way to not get owned by mobs. And I don't know if like a super high tanky armor build would work, because then low damage, and maybe a freeze build could work or something. But then you get the annoying issue with like those status element immunity maps. It's really frustrating.
Yeah. And Skidor is asking, do you have any pro tips about stash sorting? Like, do you bother organizing your stash at all, like for optimizing it, or do you just chug it and go?
Before I used to be really organized in what I did with each maps. I'd have the 74s here, 73s here,
Yeah,
stuff like that. This tab is only this items, and
that's what I do, or did.
now we get the search function, and I'm using acquisition, so I have two ways to search my stash now. There isn't really a need. So it's basically like I have one stash tab for the maps I'm running, another stash tab for basically everything else. And then like I'll have like a dump tab or something, as some people see, like you want to put the next map in right away, I'll just dump everything in there. And maybe at the end of the day when I'm like really tired or right when I'm logging off, I'll just take out all the currency and all the stuff and just put it in the appropriate tabs really fast.
And
yeah, it's not really needed to organize very well when you have acquisition and the in-game search function.
I've definitely fallen in love with acquisition. It's very helpful.
Yep.
And Nightwood is asking, what is the optimal duration of a league? So what is your favorite league?
I don't know. It's hard to say because a lot of the times in these like temporary like 1 month leagues, like when they die down, it like kind of makes you not want to play as much. So it's like, okay, I need to map and I need a lot of currency to map, right? Then if there's not enough trades going on, it gets pretty frustrating to play.
Yeah.
Then a 3-month league, that doesn't have an issue. So I'd probably say the longer leagues are better.
Yeah. But even in like a 3-month league, I find that 60 to 70% through a league, it usually dies down pretty hard anyway. Do you ever wish that there was like a massive change halfway through a league to keep it fresh?
I think that's a thing we saw on Reddit. A lot of people are saying that. And I think GG's probably noted that, and then I'm sure we'll see something like that in one of the future leagues. Like they'll just change the league mods, or like new boss has spawned because all the exiles have done blah 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 or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I think we can see some cool new stuff happening in the next challenge league, or I hope so. I hope there's something like that, like 80% and 60% and like X happens, whatever.
Yeah. And Stilgar is asking, like, you managed to get a 6th link pretty early in leagues. How do you manage to get a 6th link so fast? Do you have any secret?
No secret, just spam or refresh pw.trade, waiting for someone to buy it. It's generally going to be easy to buy expensive items early on. So if you spend your currency wisely, play like a strong build early on, doesn't require too much currency. Just like save up a lot for the OP items and like prioritize things like, okay, let's say Poisoner, for example. you want drill neck, right? But like, or there's also a +1 curse amulet for sale. Like, which one are you gonna go for? You have 3x and they're both the same price, right? You're probably gonna go for the curse amulet. It's like one of them's rarer than the other one, and early on the +1 curse amulet will be cheaper, but later on in the league the +1 curse amulet might be like 5, 6, 7, 10x. Well, the drill neck will stay the same or go down.
Yeah.
So for 6 links, they might be like 8, 10, 12, 15x like early on, which isn't like too hard to acquire if you just farm efficiently. Because exalts are really cheap early on too, like what 20, 25 chaos maybe 30. And then it's very easy to make that amount of currency early on just by selling stuff for chaos, etc. And early on as well, people are more willing to take equivalent currency, and that's mostly what you have at the time. So take advantage of the low exalt ratio early on is an easy way to get it. Basically, just play more, play efficiently. Mix of that.
Yeah. Also, we're pretty much out of questions from the chat here, so I wanted to ask one last question. Is there any like more currency items you wish were in the game? I know there's been like quite a few posts on Reddit about a reverse exalt, so removing a
I think that'd
random,
be so OP.
so removing a random modifier, stuff like that. Is there anything like you would want to add orb-wise?
I don't know. I guess that one wouldn't be that OP because Eternals are gone. Well, for softcore, it'd be really strong, but temporary league's not so strong. It's kind of a shame that there'll always be that consideration. Okay, what if we add this new orb? Will it mess up the permanent league? Kind of sucks. Well, it sucks for me because I only play the temporary leagues. But is there any orb that I would want to add? I am not too sure. Just thinking right now would be really cool.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, I can't really think of something. Pretty happy with the current state of orbs. Like, how else can you modify an item? You can remove fixes. What else can you do?
That's true.
Maybe like a chaos part of an item or something. Randomly chaos like half of the affixes. Like, I don't know. I'm just throwing random ideas out now. Don't know how good these ideas are.
Yeah. No, I mean I'm pretty happy with the current stuff like that. Oh, Noctic has a good question, which is valid for a lot of like people trying to get into streaming and stuff like that. So obviously, like Twitch-wise, he was asking, did you pay the person who designed your logo or stuff for your channel?
Oh, I made all that myself.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's simpler than it looks, I'll tell you that. I don't think it looks that great. I don't think I did that great of a job, but
that's pretty good.
I guess that's what everyone does when about their own creations. They're their harshest critic.
That's true. Oh, Globby asked another good question. Are you happy with the master system and re-leveling every league, like re-leveling the masters?
I want to say it's fine because it doesn't take too long to get a level 6 master. It's like takes no time at all. The only frustrating issue is like, hey, I want to play a build that requires like SRS, for example. You need a level 7 vegan. That's pretty frustrating if you want to play that build. So I think maybe just take a look at the certain mods that require high level masters, then debate, should we move them down to lower level masters, or does it take too long, or should we leave it high level masters because, getting the blood magic mod on your staff does allow you to get a grace on the build, which is very strong, makes your character very powerful. So you just need to analyze the different mods and like how strong they are for different builds.
Yeah. And Linkosaurus, I don't know if you remember him, one of the supports that died with you, was asking which one was your favorite PK, like the ones that you witnessed personally.
Favorite PK? I don't know. The hard one. They're all just so good, They're all equally great. No favorites.
No favorites? Oh, I have a feeling Linkosaurus is going to be hurt. Um,
I love all my PKs equally.
Bon Voyage is asking about how do you feel about low life at the moment? Is it worth it with all the leech changes and yeah, low life? What are your thoughts?
I think it's fine. Just different. You just can't do low life attack builds anymore. For casters, it's kind of fine, but casters are just in a different issue on their own right now. So like all the map mods are like not that great for them. It's very hard to get your defense and your damage up right now. And I don't know, it's kind of biased on this question too, because right now I am playing low life Ball Spark. I'm trying to take this concept to other builds. I know there's low life Incinerate I've seen it played by a couple of different people, and it looks pretty good.
Okay.
I think people should try to experiment with the other builds as well, other skills, especially now that we're getting the alt regal method that's coming out now.
Mhm.
It's an interesting thing because like I remember back in the day in like Nemesis and stuff, we used to complain all the time the maps are too easy, or not Nemesis, sorry, when we're alt regaling maps, like maps are too easy, or you need to make the game harder. And now they've made mapping harder, and we never realized that came with like limiting all these builds. So I think the map changes is recent and hasn't really sunk in yet. I think we'll be seeing a lot new builds, maybe in this 5 week and maybe in the next temp league if alt regaling stays. And it's a case where the players are actually wrong that were complaining it was too easy back then.
Yeah. Right, so I have one more question from the chat, and then I'm gonna end it up with one question after that. It's final chat question is Valmir. What is your opinion on Righteous Fire Shadow? And two, can I have my Vol's Devotion back?
Righteous Fire Shadow is probably not a good build. Probably some scrub that played that build. JK. And the Vol Devotion, that's my Vol Devotion. Why would you want to take my item?
And the final question to wrap it up, like we are getting a lot of the repeat questions now, I'm gonna compile it all later. If you could PK any player in the game, who would you PK? Like within a group, if you're grouped with them, who would you PK?
I would PK Ito, that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to PK Etep though, because usually he plays like really tanky builds that sometimes get carried. Not saying anything or firing any shots, but he's a difficult PK target. But maybe we'll get him one day.
Yeah. So you're gonna convince Etep to play less tanky build next time?
Hopefully.
I like it. Well, thank you so much for joining me for the AMA. Thank you. That was 2 hours actually. I didn't think it would be that long.
Yeah, crazy.